destiny, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streamed. And its red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live for the second time today. Time for NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing from the Richmond Raceway. It is the regular season finale for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here this evening, and we do have 6 drivers locked into the 10-driver playoff field. 4 drivers still to lock in their spots here tonight. Actually, there are 2 drivers that were locked in on points, 6 with wins, so we have 8 spots locked up. 2 more to settle the score this evening, one of which pretty easily. I think Caden Honeycutt's going to be able to point his way in. If he just has a pretty good first stage, he might be able to point his way in. But then it's very tight around the playoff bubble between 2 ThorSport trucks, 1 Tricon Garage truck, a rookie of Giovanni Ruggiero. Ben Rhodes is minus 11 points, 2-time series champion behind his teammate, Jake Garcia. Garcia going to try to hold on for that final spot. Rhodes very good at Richmond throughout his career. It's going to be a tough task for Jake Garcia, and obviously he's got the equipment to get it done, but we'll see if he can have the driver's skill to match that. Honeycutt can lock himself in, I believe, with 5 stage points in this first stage, so very good opportunity that he's going to be able to point his way in here before long. Grant Enfinger, Ty Majeski have locked themselves in on points after last week's race at Watkins Glen. And the 6 drivers who have a win so far this season would include Corey Heim, Lane Riggs, Chandler Smith, Daniel Hemrick, Tyler Ankrum, and Raja Caruth. Corey Heim, last week at Watkins Glen, picked up his 6th win of the season in just 17 races. He by far has the most on the year. Lane Riggs has wins this season. 2 wins on the season for Lane Riggs, including the most recent short track at IRP, which was just a couple of races ago. I'd like to think that those are going to be the 2 favorites for the race tonight. Corey Heim has been good on the short tracks, but he hasn't won on a short track yet this season, so we'll see if he can get it done for today. I'm taking Lane Riggs for the race win. It seems like of the short tracks that Lane Riggs wins, it's the low grip short tracks, so there's a lot of tire fall off, very similar to what we saw at IRP a couple of weeks ago. Very similar to what we saw at Milwaukee at the Milwaukee Mile last season, and then getting a win at Bristol where there was a bit of tire wear in that summer race last year. Chandler Smith winning on 2 short tracks this season, both at Bristol and Martinsville, short tracks that just don't have as good of tire grip. So we'll see if he can get it done here today. I said Bristol. I meant to say North Wilkesboro. North Wilkesboro is where Chandler Smith got a win earlier in the season, and then obviously getting one at Martinsville as well. But needless to say, those are the favorites coming into the race today. You can vote for one of those 3 favorites to get the race win, as well as somebody other than those 3. If you don't think any of them will go to victory lane, we'll keep an eye on that chat poll throughout the course of the stream today. 17 votes have been casted already in the early going of the stream, and our poll right now has Corey Heim at 53%, 18% for Chandler Smith, 6% for Lane Riggs, somebody other than those 3 at 24%. So Heim winning in a landslide, but I feel really good about Lane Riggs' chances of winning this race here today. The raw feed was not available when I started the stream, so I'm going to try to get that back up and going right now. There was an interview
I swear.
comes in last driver above the cut line.
You have bad point stays, you wreck or speed on pit road or something like that. So just try to minimize those and do the absolute best we can to have a smooth race and top 10 in all 3 stages. I think is the goal. So I think we can do all those things. We'll have a good night and move on to the round of 10. So I want to thank all my guys. They've done a good job getting me to this point. I think we've got a fast Quantum Services F-150 here today, and I'm looking forward to it.
Jake Garcia rolls off 8 as he tries to book his way through to the playoffs. Todd?
Yeah, here with Ben Rhodes. Ben, 11 points below the cut line. You've been in this situation before, and as a two-time champion, what do you got to do tonight to get yourself back above that cut line?
Yeah, not ideal being 11 points down, but the biggest thing is staying calm, cool, collected. Every time we were able to make our way in to win a championship, it was due to staying calm when the adversity would come and making the most of the opportunities when they're there. So stages, get the stage points. 17th place starting spot's not quite doing it just yet, so hopefully we have good long run speed, get our F-150 to the front.
Ben Rhodes going to use it.
All right, I think we're back up and running again. Sorry for that, everybody. My internet just completely disconnected on me there for a couple minutes, but we are back and running at full strength again. The only thing you might have missed there was the command to fire engines. Obviously, we've already highlighted the point standings. We'll keep an eye on that throughout the course of today. This first stage is 70 laps in length, which is actually the exact length of tomorrow night's NASCAR Cup race for Stage 1, which is also 70 laps. 70 laps in Stage 2 as well. Final stage will be 110 to take us to the finish. Fuel will not be an issue, but we will see a ton of tire fall off, which can lead to quite a few pit stops throughout the course of today's race. So we'll keep an eye on that. Corey Heim is the pole sitter for tonight's event. He will be starting out in front of the field as he tries to go for his 7th win on the season. He's led over 1,000 laps already in just 17 races, 6 wins in 17 races. What more can he do? Well, he hasn't won on a short track yet this year, so trying to notch that off the list before the playoffs begin in the next event. Ty Majeski outside of the front row. He is a former Richmond winner here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Should be a threat again today. Lane Riggs and Grant Enfinger will make up row 2. Lane Riggs, a 2-time short track winner last year, 2-time winner this season, one of which on a short track. We'll see if he can go number 3 alongside Chandler Smith, who has 2 short track wins this season. Matt Kraft and Jake Garcia for Thor Sport Racing starting in row 4, one of the best qualifying efforts on the year for Kraft, and we'll see if it'll turn into a good race form. Jake Garcia, final driver above the cutoff line of points, plus 11 entering the night. Christian Eckes, Daniel Hemrick will make up row number 5. Eckes, a return to the Truck Series, his first truck start of the season, and he'll be in the Hilgeman number 16 team as he tries to go to victory lane here. He won on a lot of short tracks last season in the Craftsman Truck Series. Another year last year where Heim didn't win a lot on the short tracks. Christian Eckes was kind of picking up for him. Eckes, obviously a full-time rookie in the NASCAR Xfinity Series this season. So great to see him back at the truck level, at least for this weekend. Caden Honeycutt will be in the 52 and will be filling out that truck for the rest of the year with the injury to Stuart Friesen a couple weeks ago in a dirt car racing accident. Honeycutt drove the O2 last weekend, so he was still able to run every race to participate for points on the Truck Series season. And with that being said, he comes in pretty healthy above the cutoff line, has a very good offs. As far as behind them go, Dust Sutton, by the way, also in row number 6. Row 7 will be Bailey Curry, Connor Mosack, Luke Venhouse, Tyler Ankrum in row 8. Ben Rhodes, who's the first driver below the cutoff line in the inside of row 9 alongside Tanner Gray. Brent Cruz, Matt Mills will be making up row number 10. Ranja Caruth, Andres Perez, row 11. News earlier in the week that Spire Motorsports had gotten rid of the now Nice Motorsport driver Andres Perez for the rest of the season, so Nice picking up Perez. I believe Napoli will line up in row 12. Row 13 for Carson Quapple and Corey LaJoy. I haven't seen Quapple in a truck yet this season, so another Xfinity regular, rookie at that, the Xfinity level, running a truck race this evening. Corey LaJoy in the 77, I believe he will be filling out that seat for the rest of the season as well. Nick Lights, Frankie Muniz will line up in row 14. Row 15 will be Matt Gold and Tony Breidinger. Stefan Malozzi and Caleb Costner in row 12. Ryan Roulette, Clayton Green, row 7. Did I say row 12? Row 16 for Malozzi and Costner. Row 17 for Ryan Roulette and Clayton Green. Gio Ruggiero bringing up the rear of the field. He'll be starting dead last at 35th today. He too has a shot to point his way into the postseason. He's minus 21 points entering the evening. Regine Huddleston, Bam Hall, FAHQ2, Bond 1771. Terry Lewis, Matthew Dorter Bruno, Michael Turner, Robert Goodrich, Steve, Billy Kramer, Joe Rochester, Marcos Bull, let me get this right. Bellinasso, welcome into the stream. Hopefully I said your last name correctly. Appreciate you tuning in. Lost some viewers there during the powwow a couple seconds ago, but it looks like most of you have returned back quickly. I just completely lost internet connection for like 2 minutes at random. I couldn't get connected on my phone or my laptop, but we're good to go now. Hopefully we don't have any issues with that. I don't have like any thunderstorms or anything of that nature in the area tonight, so not sure exactly why that happened. At least the order in which the leaders run. 250 laps again are scheduled distance for this evening. 70 laps in stage 1, stage 2, 110 in stage 3. It's going to be one of the longer truck races of the season. You put it into perspective, we've seen 200 lap races in the truck series at both Martinsville, Bristol in the past. So 250 on a 3/4 mile short track, quite a lengthy run. I think that was the same distance also for the North Wilkesboro race earlier this season. So a couple of the short tracks on the truck schedule this year being some of the longer races of the season. I think a lot of that has to do with the Xfinity Series being off this weekend. It's kind of more of an Xfinity Series race length, if you will, but trucks are back at Richmond again. And under the lights on a Friday night, which means we're going to have an under the lights Saturday night race tomorrow for the NASCAR Cup race. Love to see it. We only have 4 of them on the schedule in the year 2025, which is 2 more than we had last season. Got a couple back-to-back weeks here with this weekend at Richmond, Daytona the following week. So no live commentary for Sunday the next 2 weeks. We will have primetime NASCAR Saturday night, old school edition. Always been a fan of Saturday night races. I couldn't imagine watching Sunday races as a kid at night now. I'd probably be asked by my parents to go to bed early before the end of the race is over. So move them back to Saturdays more often, NASCAR. I get the TV viewership is probably better on Sunday, which is why they've been doing more Sunday night races. But for the fans in attendance, too, I think it'd be a lot easier to pack a crowd in, for instance, on a Saturday night versus a Sunday night. Because Sunday night, you got a lot of people that got to wake up at the butt crack of dawn to get to wherever they were going, especially if they're outsiders traveling in for the weekend. Loving the Saturday night racing, I know. And in this case, it's a Saturday night under the lights at a short track, which is even better than just a typical Saturday night race. All right, they'll be going green this time by Corey Heim, Alexi outside of row number 1 for this initial start. Fuel window 112 laps, so again, fuel will not be an issue. What will come with that? Maybe some comers and goers. Green flag is in the air. We're underway in the Eero 250 at Richmond. Corey Heim with a great initial start, hops down to the bottom lane in front of Ty Majeski. The 19 and Daniel Hemrick goes way wide in the first turn, and he is stuck having to barely keep it off the outside wall as he was 4 wide, trying to pick the throttle back up again and find his line. I believe I lost internet connection again. Okay. I had a big lag out on Hulu there for a second. Trying to catch back up again. I don't know what's going on with my internet right now. Hemrick going backwards on the second lap of the race as well, and I don't know if that's because he didn't get back in line on the first lap or if he's got an issue with his race truck. I would expect that it is probably an issue on the 19 team. Hemrick had some mechanical issues which dropped him out of the race early at Watkins Glen last week too, so this could be the second week in a row. Good news is for him, the playoffs haven't started yet. He is locked in. He had a win earlier in the year, but I don't know that he would he and that race team would want to keep having these issues any further than tonight. Now Craftsman working his way up to the 5th place position. He had a great run at Bristol in the spring race earlier this year. Probably his best run really in the last couple of years, where he had a legitimate threat for a top 5. At times you were wondering maybe he could compete for the win. He wasn't one of the top 2 trucks that evening, But in a top 5 truck, and here today, qualifying 7th, Craftsman up to 5th. And ThorSport Racing out of the gate, looking pretty good between Majeski qualifying on the front row, still in 2nd, and Craftsman moving into the top 5 quickly. Craftsman in a must-win situation if he is going to make the playoffs tonight. He's too many points out. That would come at the expense of his 2 teammates, though, that are battling for the final spot on points. With the cut line situation entering the race. So top 5 in the running order at the end of lap 6 is Corey Heim in the lead, Ty Majeski in 2nd, Grant Enfinger 3rd, Lane Riggs in 4th. Almost said Scott Riggs. That was close. Matt Craftsman in 5th. Playing too much NASCAR 08 lately. See Riggs on there, and Lane isn't the first name that comes to mind immediately. I'm not sure exactly where Scott Riggs sets himself on the all-time win list for the Truck Series and how many wins he had, but I would imagine Lane's got to be pretty close to him, right? He hasn't passed him already. Now he's got a handful of wins. Scott, that is. 4 for Riggs in his first 2 full-time seasons in truck competition. Brent Cruz on the move in the 1. Lost quite a few spots on the initial start of the race, but he's moving forward. Seen Cruz on a part-time effort run recently. I guess he is looking to get into full-time Truck Series competition starting next season. As he battles with Spencer Boyd for a spot. Boyd holding him tightly to the inside line through 3 and 4. A little bit of contact was made. No major harm there to either of those 2 race trucks. And Giro was started in the dead last place position, just got by Boyd before Boyd was able to get back down to the bottom. Ruggiero's already up to 23rd. 12 positions gained and climbing through the field. It is a little odd that we have 3 Xfinity Series regulars in the field, but no Cup regulars. Problems continue for Daniel. Tire is down to that number 19 Chevrolet.
They were going to have to come in. Left up, but they knew they were going to have to come in, but obviously the right front tire was going down the whole time. That's the right spot.
What it looked like, Don. He just didn't have any turn at all in that truck, and you could see right front's gone and the sparks under that thing. The kid couldn't get down to get off the pit road off turn 4, so he's struggling to get back.
11 of Corey Heim. Effort trying to make his way back down, see if he can make it to pit road. If he does this time as the leaders just go by.
That's a tough break there for the Napa truck. It has chances of winning right off the bat before he even got started hardly.
It's a bummer. We saw how strong that team was earlier this season at Martinsville. Another short track got the win. First time we saw the backflip in years, so it was great for him, but not to be so far tonight with that early issue.
I'm going to say that we're going to hear a lot of this 34 truck tonight. We know how good he is on the short track. Lane Riggs, he's heating up Grant Enfinger there on turn 4. That truck looks really strong up on the corner. Really handling nicely. No big slides I've seen out of the 34. Watch for him to go up there and contend with Majeski and Heim to lead this race.
And just a textbook pass right there. Michael got a little bit lower coming off of turn 4. Maybe just a little bit of bumper contact between him and Grant, but definitely expect him to be good as the night plays out. And the bat for the lead, guys, it is heating up right here. And I'd love nothing more to see than to see these 2, Corey Heim and Ty Majeski, duke it out all night long.
Daniel Hemrick on the right side is taking it back to the garage, Michael. But yes, this is heating up. Look how close this is. I know Corey Heim has talked about our truck is a lot better this time, but this place is not good for us. Meanwhile, Ty Majeski is about the only driver I think we heard from that had a big smile on his face earlier, happy with what they had, and it's showing.
A lot of people through the garage pointing at Ty Majeski, especially on the longer runs, and saying to look out for that truck. There was a lot of confidence they need to potentially be the guy to beat. I know that's tough to say with Corey Heim out in front of him right now with 6 wins on the year, but that was kind of the chap.
Look where Todd's going now. He's starting to check that higher groove out. We know he's faster than Corey right now, and he's just going to find a way.
Yeah, Majeski squeezes himself to the outside of Corey Heim on the front stretch off the exit of turn 4, just getting better rotation middle off. Drove it in much deeper on that outside line through turns 1 and 2 as well. Carried the momentum from the higher line as well down the back straightaway, and he'll easily clear Heim before entry into turn 3. As soon as he pulled cleared, right back down to the yellow line on the bottom of the track for Majeski. Our first lead change of the night. So again, Ty Majeski out in front after Corey Heim qualified on the pole, was able to lead the 10th of a second lead. Lane Riggs is 3.1 seconds back in third. 4.5 seconds off the lead in fourth is Grant Enfinger. And Matt Crafton is 4.8 seconds off the lead in fifth. Sammy Smith is in sixth place, 7.3 seconds back. Chandler Smith, 7.5 back in seventh. Christian Eck is at eighth, is 8.3 seconds off the lead. Caden Honeycutt in ninth, 8.8 back. And rounding out the top 10, Jake Garcia, 9.5 seconds off the lead. That rounds out the top 10. And the difference between themselves and now our new leader, Ty Majeski. Surprised there wasn't a caution for the Daniel Hemrick wall contact. That flat right front tire, he missed pit road. And as he had to limp it all the way around the racetrack, there was trucks, I should say, whizzing by him on the bottom. It was making it very difficult for Hemrick to get to the inside, especially the damage. They're making significant contact with the wall following the right front tire going flat. It must have been a slow leak from the start of the race because Hemrick went backwards in a hurry. And then obviously that ends up happening several laps later. Hemrick is still on pit road, 10 laps down. I don't know if they pulled that truck to the garage area or not. Clayton Green, Stefan Belozzi pulled off the racetrack within the first handful of laps of the race as well. So they could return and pass Hemrick for position if Hemrick remains out and done for the night. Again, early exit potentially 2 weeks in a row for Daniel Hemrick. Majeski already pulling away from Corey Heim, and he is running the fastest laps on the racetrack as well. He's pulling even Lane Riggs back there in third, Enfinger fourth, Crafton fifth on back. So Ty Majeski looking like the one to beat right now. Still winless on the season. He is locked into the playoffs on points for the Craftsman Truck Series, but 5 more playoff points for a win, maybe some stage wins tonight. He can go for 7 more playoff points, which can set him up a little bit better when the Truck Series postseason will begin at Darlington here in a few weeks. A lot of tire fall off as well. 24 laps into the race, already a second and a half of fall off. Majeski's fastest lap is the fastest of the race, 23.591 on lap 2. Lap 25, he just ran a 25.042. So again, about a 1.5 second fall off over 25 laps, and that will probably gradually fall off even more as we get closer to the end of this opening stage of 70 laps if we don't catch any cautions per incident. Akeka Stewart, thanks for tuning in as well. Besides Crafton, second favorite drivers, Ben Rhodes. Well, both of them, they've got their work cut out for them if they're going to want to make the playoffs. Rhodes is up 4 spots from the start, 17th to 13th, but Garcia in the top 10 still. Started 8th, he's currently in 10th. 11-point difference between those two coming into the day. Gio Ruggiero, one to look out for as well. Started dead last in 35th. He is up to 19th, 16 spots gained in stage 1 for Ruggiero.
This is the last race of the regular season, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Right now, Ty Majeski continues to lead, and it is the first time he has led laps in the last 10 races, guys. It's been one of those seasons for Ty Majeski. Shocking to think he hasn't gone to victory lane yet, but tonight he could stop that drive.
Wait, Jamie, we thought a couple weeks back at the Indianapolis Raceway Park that would be the race where it really got rolling for him, and maybe a little bit of a disappointing night for what we expected Ty Majeski in a short track. Tonight so far, though, this is more the Ty Majeski that we come to expect, and you know, he mentioned it earlier. This is the perfect time to start doing that, right? The week before the playoffs, carry that momentum into the playoffs, and no matter how the night works out right now for him, to show this speed that he's got, that's going to be important for that team.
Well, we showed Daniel Hemrick, one of our playoff contenders, issues early. Todd, what are they saying?
Yeah, Jamie, that night went to the worst night for Daniel. They're because he had the flat tire and had to just before the racetrack, it took the sway bar off of the truck.
I just spoke to crew chief Kipman Betancourt. He said that there's really no sense in going back on the track or in the playoffs. They don't need to go back, but they're going back in this race to use this as a test for their short track program because of the races coming up at the playoffs.
So they'll continue trying to work, but this is where you have to just be thankful that they're in when we kick off the playoffs.
I like the strategy, right? Go out there and use this as a test session. Use it to learn. Kevin Belcourt's only been working with Daniel Hemrick for 2 races now. It's an every opportunity you have to get everybody on the same wavelength in terms of communication and what's going on. Not just the driver, but the pit crew. Everybody utilize it.
Wow, Majeski is just driving away from them. Only truck in the down in the 24-second bracket. The second fastest truck, lap in and lap out, is this 34 of Lane Riggs, the yellow truck. And there you see, working the bottom, getting around some lap traffic is worried out. But what a pace that 98 is setting him on.
2-second lead over Corey Heim, and Lane Briggs is slowly reeling in Corey Heim for that second spot.
There's the truck. You can see that 11 just ahead, getting bigger and bigger. Andres Delara there in the 44, losing a lap early. He's running 24th.
Andres Perez, one of the many headlines this week. A lot of news going through the truck series. He was released from Spire. They allowed him to go look elsewhere, and he landed at Nice Motorsports. So the truck looks very similar to the 77 he's been in all year long. And now it'll be the 44 moving forward through the rest of the season.
Mexico City, Mexico, getting used to this new team.
That's a lot to figure out.
Yes.
They just raced last weekend. You just had a few days to get in the shop, learn kind of a lingo and how things go. What is it like for a driver to just change teams like that? Different protocols and things you have to learn to be up to speed.
It's overwhelming, Jamie. And, you know, when you think about it from a perspective of a rookie, it's even more overwhelming, right? You're out there, you just figured out the team that you've got, and now all of a sudden, you got to figure out an entirely new group of guys. You got to go to a new shop, understand their systems, how they work with things. As we look right now at a nice battle with Tyler Ankrum and Ben Rhodes, and Ben trying to work his way
I like that.
forward as best as he can right now.
I like how he's using that outside groove. Again, a little around. It's so hard to pass. These trucks are so equal. And I think Tyler Ankrum, like what Ben did so much, he decided he'd do it himself. Run up there and take that lane away. That's what I love about this racetrack. You've got options. If you can make a move up top, then you got the lane to do it up there. As you see, Sammy Smith on the left.
Battle for fourth on the left.
Yeah, getting side by side with Craftsman.
Battle for 12 on the right. Ben Rhodes, we talked about, only 11 points out coming into this race. And he told me this morning, my focus is just on stage points. We got to lock ourselves in with stage points, and the rest will figure itself out. And as a 2-time champion, you know, he knows these pressure situations.
Well, and as we mentioned, Ben, right, and that battle for 12, 2 positions ahead of him is going to be his teammate, Jake Garcia. And listen, even on stage 1, we're halfway through the first stage right now, exactly 35 to go, but 1 point swing one way or the other could be tough plans for these guys as he does complete the pass finally on Tyler Ankrum. And you know that Ben in the truck, he's thinking about that. They don't have to tell him that, Michael. He knows exactly. He can see the 13 truck a little ways ahead of him.
And look how good that truck's handling. He got right to the bottom, was able to accelerate hard on turn 2. I think he's got a truck he can go race for the win with. And he knows, like you said, Regan, just up ahead, a couple of spots. The 13 truck. And that's the guy he knows he's got to beat tonight. But he's probably thinking at this point, as good as that truck looks, I'm going to beat them all. I'm going to win this darn race.
He was going for it qualifying, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Got into the wall. He went so wide. You never can't tell, though. The team went to work, patched her up. She looks perfect.
And that's the only scratch on the truck at the end of the night. It's been a really good night.
Yeah, long night to go, yes.
Tyler Ankrum there. And Ben's Tire Tracks. He's a great short track racer. And there's
They
the
side by side.
work position.
Sammy Smith has really been moving his way forward here as this run goes on. And I mentioned a moment ago, we were halfway through and now we're a little past that. We're at lap 39 of this stage. And this is when you really see who's going to have a truck that can go in the long run and who managed their tires early, who's not slipping and sliding at the wrong times, Michael. And Sammy Smith, with all of his experience in Richmond, not only in trucks, but as well as Xfinity Series, doing a nice job early to make his way forward as this particular run progresses on.
He is solid. Like you said, Regan, making passes and driving away. Look at that gap he's already put on Grant as Matt Crafton slides up high to try to take a look at that 9 truck.
This weekend, it's just us and the Cup Series. It'll race here under the lights tomorrow. Sammy Smith taking the opportunity to stay on top of things and turn some laps during this weekend as they're getting ready for the end of their regular season as well.
And I love that. Stay fresh. Race everything that you can. So often we see our Craftsman Truck Series drivers, whether it's an Xfinity race that they go run or a late model race, whatever it is, a driver needs to be in a vehicle at all times. And Chandler Smith now, another one of those drivers starting to make some noise. And he told me earlier, he said, when the tires get old, that's when I'm at my best. I really know how to manage it. Told me that Richmond to him feels a whole lot like Pensacola, Florida, where he's had so much success running the Snowball Derby and other races. And
He's taking me. Chandler Smith, this is the fit.
Gotta wonder if maybe Chandler Smith and Sammy Smith, Lane Riggs, if they went that 90% the first 10 or 15 laps, and now they're really starting to pay off with keeping those tires underneath the truck bed. That Crafton looks like he could use a bit of an adjustment, but very competitive, running in the 7th position there, not right there.
Doing it just behind him, staying smooth and consistent, keeping it in the top 10. Not as much pressure on him tonight. He was all but locked into the championship. But wow, what a story for this young man to change teams mid-season and still make the playoffs. What's going on in the 88 camp? What are you hearing, Josh?
Well, Jamie, you talk about drivers trying to point their way, and for Matt Crafton, he knows it's simple. He needs to win, and like Mikey said on the top of the broadcast, he told me he's going to do whatever it takes to get into the playoffs. Well, he said they unloaded the best they have unloaded in a very long time. He said the thing about this is just get me close. He said we were about 85 to 90% there. He said it is on me now to do the rest. So a veteran driver, a champion, knows what he has to do. And right now, that truck, they haven't gained many spots. Started 7th, right now 7th, kind of stuck. So they will need some adjustments when the caution comes. But for now, Kraken is hanging tough. Let's see, hoping they can pull something off, get a win, and get back into the postseason. This game last year.
What a story that would be, Josh. Crafton has yet to finish in the top 10 on a short track this season, so certainly looking good so far. And there was contact there.
Caleb Costner was on the outside, and Caden Honey got squeezed up there off of turn 4.
24 laps to go here in stage 1. Ty Majeski continues to lead over Corey Hunt, Lane Riggs, and Sammy Smith.
All right, just over a 2-second race lead right now for Majeski over Corey Heim. Lane Riggs is just behind Corey Heim in 3rd, then Sammy Smith 4th, Chandler Smith in 5th. 6th place is Grant Enfinger, 7th for Matt Crafton, Caden Honeycutt 8th, Christian Eck is up to 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Jake Garcia. So that rounds out the top 10 spots. Already, only 17 trucks are on the lead lap. Ty Majeski is putting so many trucks a lap down with this opening 50 laps going caution-free. The amount of tire fall-off we've seen so far, about 2 seconds of fall-off or more at this point in the run. Seems like every 25 laps, see about a second and a half or so of fall-off. Still 20 laps to go yet in this opening stage. Majeski has led the most laps. Corey Heim from the pole was able to lead for the first 17 before Majeski took the lead. And during this current commercial break, Lane Riggs has just outright passed Corey Heim for 2nd place. So Riggs up to 2nd. He has been running quicker lap times than that of the 2 guys in front of him, one of which was Corey Heim, who he just passed, and then Ty Majeski as well. I don't know if he's going to have enough. He should have enough time at the pace he's running to get to Majeski. His lap times were a couple tenths quicker lap until he caught Heim. They slowed up a little bit trying to make the pass on the 11. So now he's 3 seconds off the lead again. We'll see if he can start to eat back into that a bit. Majeski could have been struggling in lap traffic a little bit more at that point in time as well. James Stropko, welcome to the stream. Pulling for Honeycutt. Caden having a good run here early. That number 52 truck up to 8th place. 3 spots gained in this opening stage. Rhodes up 6 spots, is in 11th 11 points behind Jake Garcia. He's got a shot to catch Garcia for that final stage point. That could be a 2-point swing. Quapple just went a lap down in 16th, so now we're down to 15 trucks on the lead lap. And one of those trucks a lap down would include Gio Ruggiero, who started dead last in 35th. He made his way up to 18th, 17 spots gained, but he's not even in the free pass position anymore, so that could be problematic for him. He was 21 points below Jake Garcia for that final playoff spot on points, and we don't see anybody below the cutoff line winning today. Now, Majeski hasn't won this season, but again, he's already locked in on points. Next highest in the running order that doesn't have a win of the Truck Series regulars is another driver who locked in on points already for the playoffs, Grant Enfinger. Caden Honeycutt, who's pretty darn close to clinching his way in on points. And Matt Crafton would be the highest in the running order in 8th now of those that don't have a win and are outside the cut line. Crafton started 7th, got to 5th early, fading as the run goes on. He is now, again, dropped to 8th, 3 spots lost over the course of the longer green flag run. Riggs is still closing in slightly on Majeski. I think the big thing for him is if he can finish second in the stage and then has a good pit stop, it could be right up there with Majeski on the front row and not restart a couple of positions back. Maybe there's a chance that he can keep up with him early in the run and then match lap times, if not better, later in the run like he's doing currently. I think he just started the front side of this run a little bit too slow. Race strategy, there are 4 sets of tires. I didn't hear that in the pre-race at all. I assume that there were 4 sets just because of the race length itself. They usually like to give these teams an extra set for the final. So yeah, 4 sets of tires is what we're looking at for tonight's truck event. Which pretty much is at the end of stage 1 and stage 2. Or pretty darn close to it if we get cautions for incident before the end of the stage. And you have 2 other instances throughout the course of the race to try to take an advantage with those fresh Goodyears. It's over a 20-second advantage back to Crafton in 9th now, who just lost another spot to Christian Eckes. Crafton could end up falling out of the top 10, and that could lead for more stage points for Garcia. Maybe another shot for Rhodes to get by both of them. Crafton's really, really bleeding time. It's 11 and a half, nearly 12 seconds to the 4th place truck of Sammy Smith. Our like goal for tonight's stream is 50 likes. And I believe we're just shy of 30 at the moment here in stage 1. I'm reading 28 likes on the stream. So be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We have 12 laps to go in stage 1. For where we're at right now. Still just the lone lead change as Ty Majeski's really dominated the middle and back portion of these first 70 laps. Ten to go in the stage this time by. Garcia is closing in on Crafton. He's within a couple truck lengths of him. Ben Rhodes still about 7-8 tenths off of Garcia for that spot. And now we only have 12 trucks on the lead lap. And this is stage 1. This has the feel of what the final stage would end up being if it went caution-free. But knowing the speed in these trucks right now, I mean, this has to be the most vehicles I've seen a lap down in the opening stage of a NASCAR race across any of the top 3 series in a really long time. Maybe ever since the stage racing was implemented back in 2017. I don't even think Ankrum's going to be able to hold on at 12th. We still have 9 laps to go. Ben Rhodes, Jake Garcia are a couple seconds ahead of Ankrum. I think they'll be able to hold on. I think we'll end up with 11 trucks on the lead lap at the end of the stage if I had to guess. Ankrum's probably about within a half a second or so of Majeski. Majeski's last lap was a 25.894, and Ankrum's about 25.4 seconds off the lead. Another battle inside the top 10s between Grant Enfinger and Caden Honeycutt. Enfinger also kind of going backwards as the longer run carries on, similar to Crafton. Enfinger was in third at one point early in the run at the start of the race, and now he's about to drop to seventh if Honeycutt can get by him. Caden only a few top fives this season when he was running for Nice Motorsports for most of the year, which he's had a decent enough year. I know he hasn't broken through to victory lane yet, but going to point his way into the playoffs, so swapping rides here for the 02 last week and now the 52 for the rest of the season. Can you imagine that? 3 different trucks throughout the course of the year and still going to have a shot to go for the championship starting in 2 weeks at Darlington. Because if he makes this pass on Enfinger, he can get his 5 stage points in stage 1 and he will lock himself into the playoffs with this opening stage tonight. Very good probability of that. He's been battling side by side with Enfinger for a couple of laps in a row now. Enough so that Christian Eckes just behind them is actually starting to close the gap a bit. Enfinger giving up a lot more of the bottom lane through 3 and 4. Really see these drivers fight for grip, slide the rear tires up off the exit of the corners. 65 laps at Richmond is a long time on these tires. Curious to see if when they take the tires off at the end of the stage, if there's any cording issues for anybody. Honeycutt back alongside of Enfinger through 3 and 4. Tangs underneath them into turns 1 and 2 yet again. Up the racetrack goes the 52 just a bit. The 9 wobbles as well. I don't believe the 2 made contact with one another. Just the ability to try to complete that pass on the bottom is so tough the older the tires get. And another slip up through 3 and 4. But even more so on the high side for Enfinger, despite it looked like the 52 of Honeycutt overdrove the corner. Honeycutt is clear. Christian Eckes on the quick attack now to try to go after Grant Enfinger for 7th place with 2 to go in the stage. And he should be able to clear him on the inside down the backstretch. As he has 2 full laps to try to hang on for that spot to clinch himself a playoff berth. Final lap for Ty Majeski, though, at the front of the field, because he's that far ahead of everybody he was just battling with. He did end up lapping not Grant Enfinger, but Tyler Ankrum, as I expected he was about to. And so Ankrum should get the free pass position in 12th to get back on the lead lap. But nobody's going to be taking the wave around here, considering that we have 70 laps of tires on all these race trucks to begin the race, because caution free through stage 1 is what we'll go here tonight. So Ty Majeski wins stage 1. Lane Riggs in 2nd. Corey Heim 3rd. Zane Smith 4th. Then Chandler Smith in 5th. Caden Honeycutt in 6th. Christian Eckes 7th. Grant Enfinger 8th. Jake Garcia 9th. So he did get by Crafton late. And Matt Crafton rounds out the top 10. So Garcia and Rhodes are now 13 points separated from one another when you calculate the points difference at the start of the race, and then the 2 points for Garcia in stage 1 to 0 for Rhodes. So qualifying came in handy. Rhodes qualified 17th. Was able to stay on the lead lap, but no stage points. And Garcia qualified top 10, finished top 10. Started 8th, ended up 9th. So again, Enfinger, Majeski, Honeycutt have pointed their way into the playoffs already. No matter what happens the rest of the evening. Raja Karuth, Tyler Ankrum, Daniel Hemrick each have 1 win, 2 for Lane Riggs and Chandler Smith. Corey Heim was 6. And obviously no stage points for Gio Ruggiero as well, who was minus 21 coming into the day. So now he's 23 back entering stage 2. And he'll be a lap down as he was in 16th at the end of the opening frame. We'll take our first break. You're listening live on KRC. Craftsman Truck Series coverage continues, and we'll be having our first set of pit stops here shortly. So our coverage continues. Got 50 votes on the chat poll. Corey Heim was at 50% at the start of the race. Now has dropped to 44%. Somebody other than Riggs, Smith, or Heim went from 24% to 30%. Lane Riggs at 18% still. Chandler Smith has risen a bit to 8% of the votes for the race win tonight. All three of those drivers were on the lead lap at the end of the stage, but somebody other than those three, Ty Majeski, was our stage one winner. Second stage win of the year for Majeski, so he's only got 2 playoff points. He came in 6th in the regular season standings. Top 10 will get spots there. He could move mathematically as high as 4th. Daniel Hemrick dropping out of the race early. If Majeski outpoints Hemrick by 40 points, which is actually possible because, again, Hemrick is out, he could pick up some spots there. And on Grant Enfinger, he came into the night 7 points behind him for 5th. And Grant was 8th at the end of the stage, so it was already a 7-point difference between the two. So they're even from stage 2 on to the end of the race. If he wins both stages, wins the race tonight, and then moves up 2 spots in the regular season standings, that's like a 9 playoff point performance this evening for Majeski rather than a 7. Corey Heim, obviously the regular season champion for the Truck Series. He had actually locked that up before last week's race at Watkins Glen, which he won, adding on to the lead some more, even though he had clinched it before that race at IRP, with 2 races left still in the regular season at that time. Earl Arnold Jr., welcome to the stream.
Yeah, wait. That year. A little football, some playoff NASCAR, my time of year.
The pits are open and they're coming away, Todd.
98 Ty Majeski talked to Joe Shearer's crew chief. It's not much to report. He said, "How's the truck?" He said, "Pretty good." That's it. Lane Riggs, not so much the same thing. He's got the worst problem you can have as a driver. He's loose in and tight in the middle.
Lots of adjustments for him.
Josh?
The 11 and 45. He said the biggest issue with that truck is the running end. Jesse was telling he's looking at the 98, saying the 98 could roll the center better. They can get in deeper. So he needs some help if he wants to be able to track down time with Jesse and the rest of the way.
Yeah, that was his problem in practice, guys. He talked about the front end. It's just slowing down.
It looks like a pit stop for Corey Heim, and really all 3 of our top 3.
Corey Himes able to jump up a spot.
What, Ben Rhodes? Plus 10. Is that accurate?
Safe runs up there.
Take a look at that. Figure it all out. Re-rack them and stage. And number 2 will be on the other side of our brain.
Alrighty. So we'll wait to see what the leaderboard is going to look like shortly here. Ty Majeski won the race off of pit road. Looks like it did just update as they got back to the start-finish line. Corey Heim back into 2nd again. Lane Riggs 3rd. Sammy Smith 4th. Christian Eckes 5th off of pit road. Tyler Ankerman 6th. Jake Garcia 7th. Matt Crafton 8th. Caden Honeycutt 9th. Grant Enfinger will round out the top 10. 11th and 12th. Chandler Smith, Ben Rhodes. And again, the free pass ended up going to the 12th place truck of Tyler Ankrum at the end of that last stage. So I guess Ankrum's not going to be in 6th once they cycle through. He had to wait for everybody else to pit, and then he was going to pit after them. Yeah, so Ankrum, after getting the free pass, has dropped back a bit. Garcia's going to be up to 6th. Great pit stop by the 13 team. They really needed it for where they're at points. Crafton 7th, Caden Honeycutt 8th, Enfinger 9th, Chandler Smith 10th, Rhodes 11th, and then Ankrum 12th, obviously. And 13th on back will all be a lap down, racing for the free pass position, and also going to try to do whatever they can to not go a second lap down in stage 2. So Majeski dominates. Somebody in the chat, I can't remember who specifically, mentioned something about, I think it was Akeka Stewart. Might have been somebody else, but it was Akeka Stewart. Talk about Lane Riggs being his pick for the championship. He's a great short track racer, but so is the guy that's leading right now, and that was what won him the title at Phoenix last year when he made it to the championship for Ty Majeski. He didn't win a single race until we got close to the end of the regular season. IRP, he was able to get a win there. He was able to get a win here at Richmond, and here he is at Richmond trying to get it done. He had a good run at IRP, just wasn't the best truck, wasn't able to get the race win. That night belonged to Lane Riggs. But maybe tonight is different.
They'll start the tail end of the field. Not ideal for the man who's just on the outside coming into this race, trying to race his way in.
Yeah, definitely a tough break for Ben. And what that means is there's going to be all kinds of trucks that were one lap down on the same tires as him, basically, that he's going to have to work his way back around now before he can get back up to the lead lap trucks to try and battle to get. He's going to be right in the hornet's nest of all of it right now.
Well, the thing, he was able to drive up from the 17th starting spot in really good fashion. So we know he's got a great truck. But this is a real setback for this team trying to race for their playoff hopes.
All right, so on to stage number 2 here at Richmond Raceway. Green flag back in the air. Corey Heim with a great push from behind. We'll see if he can get back out into the lead. Sammy Smith launched himself and Corey Heim to the front of the field. Smith about overdrove turn 1, nearly making contact with Lane Riggs, backed up the whole stack of trucks that were double wide behind him. But he was able to push the 11 truck out in front on that inside lane for row 1. And Heim is going to try to do what he can to hang on to this race lead for a longer period of time than what he was able to lead from the pole back in stage 1, which was 17 laps. We restarted at lap 11 in the stage, so we had actually restarted at lap 10 in the stage. We had 9 laps of caution for the stage break, which was the first caution of the night. Lead change in the pits as the pit stops were going on back and forth. Were 2 more lead changes, and then Heim taking the race lead away from Majeski in the restart. So that's why we're at 4 lead changes all of a sudden, despite only having 1 in the opening stage. Lane Riggs falling back to 5th on the restart as Christian Eckes was able to battle by and make a pass on the outside lane. Riggs trying to get back by him on the bottom now into turns 1 and 2. So they're side by side for 4th again. The more you battle, especially early in the run when you do have grip in the tires as well, you could be burning them off more for later in the run. So when you're trying to make these passes, you really want to make them as efficiently and as quickly as possible. And they go right back into the managing game. So you have something for later, and you're not going to be necessarily abusing your tires earlier, which is hard to do when you're trying to play from behind, 4th and 5th place, for instance, like Lane Riggs and Christian Eckes are. Yeah, definitely clean and green so far. This will be the case. We saw it clean and green last week for the most part. We had 1 caution per incident in the first 2 stages at Watkins Glen, and then all hell broke loose in the final stage, and we had 3 overtimes and a wild finish before Corey Heim was able to hold on and get the race win. Riggs rocketing by Sammy Smith for 3rd, not wasting any time. Just a couple laps after he got his 4th place spot back on Christian Eckes. So Riggs lost a spot on the restart, but then he also lost 2 spots on pit road after finishing 2nd to the lap 70 marker. It's 1.6 seconds off the lead, and Majeski's not out in front right now, so this is probably the best time for him to try to catch up. Because once Majeski can get to the lead on Heim, if he is able to get it back again, which I'd assume he would be able to if the run stays green long enough, Riggs is going to have a tougher time. Ben Rhodes, who had to restart after a penalty, still scored in 12th place, but tail end of the longest line for the penalty. So he's behind all the trucks that finished a lap down at the end of the last stage, which we only had, again, 11 on the lead lap, 12 on the restart because of Anchor getting the free pass, and he too would also be at the tail end of the field with Rhodes because of getting the free pass award. Jake Garcia going for 5th place underneath the 16. Side-by-side battle for 5th. Great adjustments maybe made to that 13 truck of Garcia because he was 9th. Kind of struggling a bit there towards the end of stage 1, but just made a pass for 5th. Caution comes out further back in the field behind him. This is our first incident of the night, stage 2, after contact between the 66 and the 76.
That's that reason you talked about the scramble back in the back and how racing can get. There's a 66, no damage there, it doesn't look like.
I'm fortunate to go around and in the corner, in that spot at the corner, and not have any contact. Certainly good for Luke Fenhouse, great short track racer from Wisconsin, and hate to see that for him. As we'll take a look at what happened here. This is in the middle of turns 1 and 2 right now, where we're looking, and there you see, just coming up off the bottom, Spencer Boyd just misses the bottom, clips him, and
Big. I know that's tough for Spencer and for Luke, but that's a big break for Ben Rhodes. We saw what kind of mess he was in, and now he's going to be able to get around those lap trucks.
So here's the question for Ben Rhodes now.
Ooh, good
Do
question.
you take the tires now and be able to restart with those lead lap trucks and get your points potentially if the stage continues to go green? He mentioned early on in the show when we interviewed him, we need early caution so we can do stuff different. This is the opportunity that he wanted right here.
That radio communication between team and Ben Rhodes and the engineers, everybody's just on the gas right now trying to figure out if this is the right time to make this game.
I love to see this option. We didn't have this last year. Those guys knew they only had that extra set of tires. This year we have an additional set.
And it'll cost him later on in the race if they choose to do that. But at the same time, he could potentially make up a huge chunk of stage points by taking that opportunity.
Right now, he's giving up a bunch, and look what he's doing. You called him, Regan. He's coming to get him, and I love it.
Here he comes. The first pit box right there. Pulls it to a stop.
Brand new tires. You see the stickers there going on. This is just a game where they have to take. They're behind. They've got to figure out a way to catch up. And if that thing stays green, he could go up and win this darn stage.
And certainly with his team area now, Jake Garcia running in the 5th position has been migrating forward already in this run. Great move there.
What can Ben Rhodes do with fresh tires? We'll find out. Corey Heim continues to lead here under caution.
Now, he should be the quickest truck on the racetrack, but they only ran about 10 laps of green flag action before that caution flag came out. So he is probably going to be about a second quicker a lap, but I wouldn't expect anything more than that. The good news is with only 12 trucks on the lead lap at the time of the yellow, that means he's going to be in row 6. So he's not going to have to come from deep in the field on the fresh tires. And I believe he was the only truck that hit pit road during this caution to burner set. The driver who he's trying to race for this final playoff spot, Jake Garcia, who's currently in 5th, I believe, stayed out. Free pass with the caution goes to Gio Ruggiero, another driver who is still having his shot at points. Ruggiero in 14th. And so now he'll be tail end of the longest line with the restart. Rebel Soul, thanks for tuning in. And once again, a reminder, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet so we can get to our goal of 50 likes on the stream. We're at 37 right now, just past 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Got a couple of late nights, not only this week, but next week as well. We'll have Friday and Saturday night action, Daytona, Xfinity Cup. This weekend, obviously, at Richmond between truck tonight, Cup racing tomorrow. And I would expect Rhodes to get to the lead at some point. The next question is, when he gets to the lead, how much more time is he going to put on the leaders after he gets out in front? Is there going to be a midway point because of only having 10-lap pressure tires that there's a chance he can get ran back down before the end of the stage? So this is definitely a bit of a gamble for sure for Rhodes, but desperate times call for desperate measures. And the desperate times, he came in minus 11 points. He lost 2 points in stage 1 to Jake Garcia with not scoring any stage points. Garcia getting 2 of them. Garcia's already in the top 5, so he's got to do something different here. It's definitely one of those desperate times. Lap 95 of 250. You're listening live on KRC to the Craftsman Truck Race at Richmond, the Eero 250.
See Ben Rhodes lined up back there in the 12th spot. Advantage, Regan. You think that's an understatement?
Ben is going to have a lot of fun on this restart right here, and you'll see him go high, you'll see him go low. He will be all over the place.
We got to watch this. This cat is going to be on the gas.
Chandler Smith, Raja Karut came down pit road as well. Battle up front has been incredible, but we need to keep an eye on.
All right, green flag back in the race. Lap 97 on the restart. We still got about 43 laps to go in stage 2. Corey Heim on the outside of row 1 in the restart. Majeski did not fire off very well, and Lane Riggs is going to slip to his outside for second place, but Majeski slams the door shut off of turn 2. First corner, Ben Rhodes already picked up a couple of spots. He goes from 12th to 8th. Right back down onto the bottom lane and looking to rip past the field. Again, he should be about a second a lap faster than everybody on 10-lap fresher tires here at Richmond Raceway, which was last repaved 25 years ago. And they'll be working up on lap 100 here shortly. It's a good thing Majeski was able to get evening. I wouldn't be as worried about this 99 on fresher tires blowing your doors off here shortly because Rhodes is already up in the top 5. In 3 laps, he's gone from 12th to 5th on a 3/4 mile short track. Got a 13 truck advantage on the lead lap. Raja Karut got the free pass, not Gio Ruggiero. I apologize for that. So Karut is now the last truck on the lead lap. Again, in 13th. Ruggiero currently in 14th. Would be the first truck a lap down if we catch another caution. Otherwise, he's going to have to battle that out till the end of the stage. Which the caution buys him more time in the sense that I don't think he's going to go a second lap down. Now he's hoping Raja Karut, who has to restart behind all the lap cars because of getting the free pass, is able to hold on to his lap because he's probably not going to be able to run him down for 13th place before the end of the stage. Rhodes up to 4th as he got by Caden Honeycutt about a lap and a half ago. He's 1.8 seconds off of the race lead. The top 3 still within about 0.8 of each other. And Majeski putting a battle on Corey Heim for the race lead out in the restart. He's now in 7th, battling for 6th with Christian Eckes. And Caden Honeycutt up a few spots to 5th. First time he's broken into the top 5 this evening. I think we get 20 laps into the run, and Rhodes' tires are going to dip off quite a bit compared to the leaders. Majeski going for the lead on Corey Heim. Into turn 1, down to the inside of the racetrack. Heim going to run him tight on that middle groove, but Majeski beats him in the race back to the throttle, and Majeski is back to the lead for the second different time tonight. After dominating and winning stage 1, it's now his first lead of stage 2. After losing the lead on the restart to begin the second stage, and Lane Riggs trying to do whatever he can to keep as close to Majeski as possible. Majeski now has the clean air advantage, and Lane Riggs has to make very quick work of Corey Heim, which he should catch him in the next lap or 2. Rhodes is still about 1.8 to 1.9 seconds off the lead, so he got to 4th pretty quickly, but he is not running down these top 3, who have just been in kind of a league of their own tonight in comparison to the rest of the field. Yep, 25 years, 2000. Pit road speed limit's 40 miles per hour tonight. Riggs is already trying to work himself into that middle to upper groove through 1 and 2, getting a full bit of clean air on the nose of his race truck. Slight bit more straightaway speed. He'll be giving up more on entry center of the corner by running the slightly wider line. Not quite the shortest route around the track like the bottom on that yellow line would be. Probably didn't like that from the lap before. Goes right back to the inside behind Heim. Rhodes is closing in lap time wise on second and third, but compared to Majeski, he's still losing time. Great job by that 98 all night tonight. Lane Riggs is about 1.5 truck lengths off the back bumper of Corey Heim and closing into turn 3 this time by. Just inching closer and closer, but it is very subtly. And the caution lights are on again with 31 laps to go in the stage. I'm not sure exactly what for. Oh, it's Dawson Sutton in the 26. Camera panned to him very late. He is parked, I believe, towards turn 1.
It's down at the entrance to pit road. You can see the pit sign for the 99 of Ben Rhodes there. That shows you how close to pit road he is there. And
Well, what's that? Was that just saying, Regan? It's going to mix things up front. Would be surprised to see a lot of leaders pit.
I think that's going to be the question, Michael. Do you take the chance to put the tires on right here? This is an interesting part of the stage. 31 laps to go. I think if you pit here, you're likely going to have to pit again at the end of the stage for sure, no matter what you do. But then you leave yourself with one set of tires to get through the remainder of the race if you do that. So a tough call.
So we'll step aside here as the AMR team tends to Dawson Sutton. We'll be back from Richmond. If you're
Sutton out of his race truck, caution flag is out. He'll be taking the mandatory trip back to the infield care center. The truck doesn't look like it's got a lot of damage on it. I wonder if it caught fire. There's a bit of smoke at the scene of the crime, but tough to tell for sure what was going on. Majeski out in front of the field. Corey Heim in second. Lane Riggs third under the caution. And you got Ben Rhodes fourth. Caden Honeycutt fifth. Jake Garcia in sixth. We're almost halfway. We're about 2 to 3 laps away from the halfway mark. We're past halfway through stage 2. We'll have less than 30 to go in the restart. And there will be some huge decisions here as to taking tires or not taking tires. This probably would have been the caution for Ben Rhodes to take tires. He used up a set already and only got up to fourth. 10 laps just wasn't enough to overcome the top 3. And I think Jake Garcia pits this time. Because if he is able to pit, outscore Ben Rhodes again, he's putting himself in a position where all he has to do is finish within about a dozen positions behind him, and there's not many trucks on the lead lap. The only other thing that can knock him out of the playoffs is if we get a new winner below the cutoff line, which, again, when you look at the full-time regulars that are on the lead lap that are below the cutoff line, Ben Rhodes would be 1, Matt Kraft would be 2, and that would be it. Because everybody else either has a win or isn't running for full-time Truck Series points, or are without a win, but they're above the cutoff line already and have pointed their way in, like Enfinger, Majeski, and Honeycutt. The scene of the crash. I don't know. It was fitting. Nobody was harmed at the scene of this crime. More of a shame than a crime for the early retirement tonight for Dawson Sutton.
Our Craftsman Truck Series live from Richmond Raceway, where we're under caution for an incident with Dawson Sutton in the 26 truck. Very odd looking.
Yeah. Come to a stop as he approached pit road.
Upper right corner here.
See right there. Bounced it just off that inside wall.
And it looks like the brakes or something may have locked up as he did that, and not too certain. Looks like he was coming to pit road anyways, and
Weird.
whatever happened caused him to just nose into the wall a little bit right there. And,
Weird.
And not too certain what caused that to happen, as it looked like he did have a problem prior to that he knew about.
Pit road is open. We have some takers and some who chose to stay out.
This is what we talked about all day long. When will they choose to take tires? Regan, we were debating this during the break. Who comes, who doesn't?
Todd.
Yeah, Jamie, it is a big debate whether to come and get these tires. Joe Shearer and Ty Majeski literally debated it right up until they came into pit road right there. They didn't know what to do with last minute. They decided, let's put them on.
Man, if I'm Tom Majeski, I might like to have saved those tires, but you're going to second guess whatever these people do. But a lot of it is it's just a tough call right now.
Caden Honeycutt gets his set of tires. Tyler Ankrum just ahead of him. Christian Eckes on pit road.
Perfect timing for a pit stop, for a caution flag fall, to just create more chaos, to make so many decisions that are really tough to make right now.
And the guy that doesn't like to see those tires, and you mentioned it before we went to break earlier, Michael, that Ben Rhodes didn't want to see that caution. What he also didn't want to see was
Gets his set of tires. Tyler Ankrum just ahead of him. Christian Eckes on pit road.
Perfect timing for a pit stop, for a caution flag fall, to just create more chaos, to make so many decisions that are really tough to make right now.
And the guy that doesn't like to see those tires, and you mentioned it before we went to break earlier, Michael, that Ben Rhodes didn't want to see that caution. What he also didn't want to see was anybody come in to pit and take tires, because they have a good chance now of being able to get back past him once we restart this race. The curious thing for Ty Majeski now is going to be, we've got roughly, when we get the green flag, let's call it 21, 22 laps to go in the stage. At the stage break, you're going to have to come back down to take tires again. You don't have an option. That leaves you one set now to play out the entire remainder of the final stage at some point, whether you take them halfway through or wherever you take those at. Todd, help me out here, because I'm having trouble making this add up right now.
Well, it's really funny how race car drivers think alike, Michael, you just said, if I was Ty Majeski, I didn't want to put them tires on. Well, guess what? Ty didn't want to put the tires on. He was begging Joe to stay. He was begging Joe to stay out. Joe said, no, let's flip it right here and see what we can do with these tires. But it's funny, Michael, you're pretty smart for a driver.
Well, thanks, Todd. It takes one to know one. I appreciate that. And it's going to be interesting, too, I think, Regan, at the end of this stage. He could stay out then, too, and be on older tires for a while. We saw him be able to hold his own against Ben Rhodes. Could stay out then and save those the other two sets, in order to make sure he's got plenty to go to the checker. But the interesting thing to me here will be Ben Rhodes versus Jake Garcia. I think Jake is in a really good spot to go up there and put a lot of positions between himself and Ben Rhodes.
So what we have here is the top 7 stayed out, including Lane Riggs, of course, the 99 of Ben Rhodes. We know he came in. And Corey Heim, of course, leading the race, decided to stay out.
Yeah, and something else we got to keep in mind here as well, guys, is there is battles for points position throughout this field, right? And the battles for points positions are to get the playoff bonus points. And I got to imagine some of the guys, a guy like Grant Enfinger, right? He may be thinking about that. He came to pit road and thinking, hey, if I can get some stage points here, I'm not as good as the 98 of Ty Majeski. Maybe I come right now and get these tires and get some additional stage points. And if you gain 1 or 2 points based on where you finish in the regular season standings, that could help you out at the playoff start also. So something else to keep in mind.
Okay, and we talked about Ben Rhodes. He's going to be 3, 4 wide. Well, it's getting ready to be 4 or 5 trucks that are going to be 3 or 4 wide. Now, things are going to get really crazy on this restart. The first truck on fresh tires is Tom Majeski.
Yep.
He's going to start behind the first 7 trucks. He's an 8th
All right, so 8th place on back will have fresher tires of those that are on the lead lap. Top 7 stayed out. They're going to have old tires here. We've got 23 laps to settle this in stage 1. Green flag back in the air. Torrey Heim wins the restart zone battle yet again. Lane Riggs spins his tires on the inside of road number 1, And Ben Rhodes slips to his outside quickly now, trying to go for 2nd place off turn 2. Wild battle of those on fresh tires mixing in with those on old. Ty Majeski's already busted his way into the top 5. On the inside of Chandler Smith for 4th now off the exit of turn 4. Few trucks down on the apron on the front stretch. 4 wide into turn 1. Connor Mosack underneath a couple of others. Grant Enfinger making subtle contact with Matt Crafton in the 88, getting by him. Giro, by the way, just got the free pass that time around. He did get the quick caution needed. So 14th place, he is back on the lead lap. Mosack at 15th on those fresher tires, trying to battle for the free pass position with Corey LaJoie. Rhodes has closed in on our leader, Corey Heim, for 2nd place. 20 laps to go in the stage, but Ty Majeski, the first of those drivers on 4 fresh Goodyears, has worked his way up to 3rd. Christian Eckes and Caden Honeycutt, side-by-side battle, also on fresh tires, are going for the 5th spot. Quickly for 2nd, Majeski to the inside of his teammate Rhodes. He is going to take that spot away, and he should be able to get by Corey Heim in turn 1 this time by. 19 laps left now, stage 2. Heim on the inside, Majeski to the outside. Majeski going to blow the doors off the 11, but he's going to be down a set of tires to the end of this race compared to those that stayed out. There are 7 trucks on the lead lap that will have 3 sets of tires the rest of the race. I'd imagine everybody's going to pit at the end of stage 2, so that only gives 1 set left of fresh stickers for, say, a Majeski, who has dominated the night. It's a very bold strategy, to say the least, when they really didn't have to take the strategy of putting these sets of tires on, because they put themselves at a bit of a disadvantage compared to others. Lane Riggs, who was in 2nd for most of the night, is now back to 9th. Of course, he's still on older tires. Many of those in front of him are still on fresh Goodyears. Ben Rhodes, who isn't necessarily on fresh tires now, fresher compared to Riggs. And Corey Heim's probably going to lose quite a few more spots here before the end of the stage. 3 wide battle for position, the 1652 and the 38. And it is very tight with Honeycutt in the middle of all that. Oh, Garcia peeking to the inside. Is he going to actually take the move? No, he thought better of it. That was a good idea. I don't think 4 wide at Richmond was going to be the best way to go about this. But he's boxed in with nowhere to go. And Grant Enfinger's quickly closing up to the right side of his race truck. A heck of a battle going on right now for 4th between the 38-52, the 16. The 13 slips underneath both of them. Enfinger will go 4 wide to the bottom. Garcia wasn't willing to try. He also thought better of it. Might have been a slight bit of contact as well between the 13 and the 52, because it looks like the Goodyear lettering has rubbed off of Honeycutt's left side tire, specifically the left rear. And I did notice that before when Christian Eckes was underneath him the lap or 2 before that. 1 second lead for Majeski over Heim. 1.8 seconds back to Ben Rhodes in 3rd. 2.2 seconds to Christian Eckes in 4th. Jake Garcia back in the top 5 and 5th. 2.6 seconds off the lead. So that is the top 5. The intervals between them up at the front of the field. 12 laps to go in stage 2 this time by. Riggs has fallen to 10th. Giro in 11th. Ben Rhodes, if he can hang on for 3rd, he's still going to outscore Garcia in the stages. Tyler Ankrum, Corey LaJoie making significant contact further back in the field. Losing time there. Andres Perez battling around where his old truck is. Corey LaJoie for 16. Eckes is on the outside of Ben Rhodes for third as they work their way up off the exit of turn 4. So Rhodes will drop back another spot. Eckes to third place. 11 laps to go in the stage. Garcia going to get by Rhodes. That'll be a 2-point swing as those guys battle for the final cutoff spot. And Garcia quickly underneath of Eckes for third place and makes quick work of him. That was a great pass by Garcia. That 13 truck just keeps getting slightly better as the night goes on. I feel like he's running a little bit better than where he last left off every single time that truck comes down on the pit road. Because Eckes has had him beat for most of the night position-wise, and he just outright passed him, and they're on the same set of tires right now by way of when they last pitted, which was during the most recent caution. And he has fresher tires than that of Corey Heim up here in second. No-brainer for Garcia to come down onto pit road that last stop, considering the 99 pitted before that. So now Rhodes is right back in the same situation he was in, where he's behind the 13. He's going to lose stage points for the second stage, and they have equal tires to the end of the race with 2 sets left.
Earlier, before the race started, you could tell he was intense. You know, there was a lot of pressure on the line, looking to make the play.
The position right there in front of Corey Heim is he's going to dive to the inside, and Corey knows I'm not going to have anything to match this right now, and just save as much time on the track as I can to not let those other fresh tires catch up to me potentially. But as I say that, Corey drives back to the outside and clears himself. So
maybe it's short term. And I think you're right. I think that they're going to side them up here pretty quickly.
See that in the pylon on the left side of your screen.
See that 60 laps by Corey Heim. It's impressive that he's able to hang in the second there. Maybe the adjustments they made help that truck. We'll see when he gets on the same type of tires. See if he has anything for time adjusting.
Jake Garcia just doing a great job tonight.
I like that this one. Never know.
he is trying to get closer to maybe being able to complete this pass off, but it's not quite yet. But another good corner and 3 for, and then he can sit down and go try and chase his teammate down as he does complete it now finally.
Jake Garcia, the highest he is for tonight, moves into second. Corey Heim back to third. Christian Eckes fourth. Grant Enfinger, your top 5.
Playoff race.
Gio Ruggiero back in 11th. He had an outside chance coming in. Multiple points back, but he had to start at the back. He's got a lot on his plate.
And that's what I was about to say. When you consider how his day has gone to this point so far, Gio doing a fantastic job of getting positions early on in the race, continuing to work his way forward. Not only that, but that first run of the race, doing what he could to try and maintain the lead lap as long as he could there. So doing a really nice job of what he can.
Hey, this truck has been so good. This is interesting, though. We spot the shot. I said it.
And a quick look at the lap times right now, and Majeski had picked it up for a little while. Maybe it eased it back off a little bit. It appears to have picked it up again, but Jake Garcia is definitely rolling off some good laps. The last time by, Jake Garcia, the fastest back on the track. Majeski, the second quickest. So interesting to see between these two as they try to climb ahead for the end of the race and see where their trucks are. Jake Garcia is a very good truck right now.
Final lap of stage number 2. Majeski won stage 1. We making a sweep here. Pick up stage win number 2. And he does it. Max points. 90 laps led tonight so far. Majeski, Jake Garcia, Corey Heim, Christian Eckes, Grant Enfinger, your top 5. This will be open on the backside.
All right, well, Majeski sweeps the stages here tonight. That's 2 playoff points for him. That will carry over into the next race when we start the playoffs at Darlington in a couple weeks. And so Majeski Dominant night so far, but he is down a set of tires compared to 7 other drivers in the field. And that is the only question mark that I think we have for Majeski for this evening as far as how can he lose this race. That's how. If we get quite a few cautions in stage 3, I think that's going to hurt him. Now, if we only get 1 caution for incident in stage 3, it'll be fine because he'll have another set of tires that he can throw on the truck. They may try a strategy which would be bold of staying out to save that set for another caution, but they would lose quite a bit of track position in doing so. So I'd imagine first chance they get, they're going to end up having a yellow. So 91 laps led for Majeski, 50 for Corey Heim, and those are the only drivers who have led during green flag action so far today. Quick race recap so far. Corey Heim started on the pole, led the first 17 laps. Majeski took the lead in stage 1, ran all the way to the end of the stage with the stage win. That was stage 1. Into stage 2, we had 2 cautions for incident in this stage, which kind of split the tire strategy up a bit. Each of these teams had 4 sets to start the race off with. Many of which have 2 sets left. Some have 3. Everybody, I would imagine, is going to pit during the stage break coming up here at the end of stage 2, which means that there will be 1 set left for those that have 2 now, and then the drivers who definitely have 3 sets are all going to be coming in and using a set here that they haven't pitted during either of the 2 cautions so far for incident tonight. Just over an hour and 15 minutes into the race, 7 lead changes now. And this is our 4th caution, 2nd stage end. And we have 110 laps in stage 3. By the time we get back to green flag racing, we're going to have around 100 laps to go in this final stage. Like goals 50, we're at 42. We're getting close. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, live commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend. Our coverage continues right here on KRC. We'll take a quick break, and we'll have pit stops on the other side. So pit road going to be open this time by. See if anybody tries to stay out like a Majeski or anybody else here saves a set of tires. They do not. Yeah, I didn't expect that. They had 23, 24 laps on him. Majeski leads the entire lead lap set of trucks. On to pit road. Contact for Rhodes getting into his box.
Go back on that adjustment.
Jeez.
He's pretty darn happy right now. He wants just a...
Go figure, as soon as I unmute it, there's a little bit of a lag issue. Who's been acting up for me all day today?
Track bar adjustment. He thinks he can keep it up at the front the rest of the way. Josh?
Well, Corey Heim is about chasing down that 98. Once again, saying that truck is just too tight, fires up pretty well, and then just gets too tight towards the end of that round. They're going to try making a jump in to help him out and see if they can give him anything.
It's nice to see her out of the 13 truck. Pretty happy with it. Just wanted a little track bar adjustment. It's feel like they're good to go.
And that's exactly what we saw at the end of the run.
Yeah, so Majeski easily wins the race off pit road positions. 3 spots gained for Ankrum. 5 spots lost for Jake Garcia. That's not good. Ben Rhodes up 2. He'll be in 5th on the restart. Garcia 7th. So Garcia had 9 stage points. I believe Rhodes was 7th at the end of the stage. He would have got 4. So Garcia will end up 11-4 in the stages, 7 points gained on him. He came in plus 11. So for Ben Rhodes to knock Jake Garcia out of the playoffs on points, he's going to have to outpoint him by 18 spots in this final stage. So he's going to need a lot of help. With as few of trucks as we have on the lead lap right now, which are after the free pass given, we're going to have 16 trucks on the lead lap. It's looking like a must-win situation for Ben Rhodes the way this race is working out so far. I'd be shocked if he is able to beat him by 18 spots without Garcia getting involved in an incident. And if you're Jake Garcia, knowing that that's the case and you just have to get on the lead lap, don't put yourself into a situation that could get yourself in trouble, which, you know, losing 5 positions on pit road, put yourself right in the middle of the swarm of hornets, as I would like to call them, leaving a hornet's nest for what we'll see in the middle of the pack on this next restart. Just got to do the best you can, stay out of harm's way. saying you have to race, overly precautious in the sense of, just defense or running off the pace just to try to keep from wrecking the race truck. At the same time, though, it would help him get in. You never want to tell your driver to back off by any means, but aware him of the situation, especially with Garcia being the younger driver of the two between him and Rhodes. Garcia very fortunate in kind of a weird way. With Stuart Friesen's injury, Garcia would have no shot to point his way in on Caden Honeycutt if we were to have had the playoffs play out. Honeycutt would have been in the 10 seed right now, and he's already locked in on points because of the amount he has over the current 10th place driver, Jake Garcia. So Garcia was going to have to win the race tonight to get into the playoffs. That is not the case, obviously, anymore. And window of opportunity opened up for him. And for ThorSport Racing, that's big too, because considering it was Garcia and Rhodes going for that final spot, that almost guaranteed them pretty much that they were going to get an extra truck into the playoffs. Ty Majeski having a great run so far tonight. All in all, I'd say it's been a pretty good night for ThorSport. Craftsman looked good early, but he fell behind here in stage 2 a bit. Corey Hyman second, Caden Honeycutt third, Grant Enfinger fourth, Ben Rhodes in fifth, Tyler Ankrum sixth, seventh for Jake Garcia, Christian Eckes eighth, Gio Ruggiero ninth, Chandler Smith rounds out the top 10. Second and third stage wins of the year for Majeski this evening.
All right, so right at the end of stage number 2, we listened in to Jake Garcia's radio.
On radio, let's put the 8 up in now. So now we need to focus on being smart. Keeping them in our sights all night.
Yep.
Stay out of trouble.
That's exactly
Garcia can hear on his radio.
what I wanted to hear the crew chief tell him.
That's going to continue to change as they run, and maybe he gains a spot, loses a spot. But what he knows now is I've got to stay within 18 positions of Ben Rhodes, and I'm going to find my way into the playoffs unless Ben goes up and gets the lead of the race.
And, he's checked every box. The team has as well. Jake Garcia has done a great job behind the wheel. They made the right calls. They're in a great position here to go make the playoffs.
So what does Ben Rhodes need to do right now?
Well, I think Ben Rhodes has to consider this now a must-win situation, knowing where the points are, knowing what's taken place as this race has played out for him so far. Michael, I could be wrong, but I look at this as must-win now.
Yes, I agree. 100%. He's got a big enough advantage that Ben's in that position, and that's what I'm telling Ben. If I'm the crew chief, we got to go put this thing away. Had the truck, it appears tonight to be as good as our pace setters in Heim and Majeski, but an adjustment here, adjustment there. Ben Rhodes got the experience and knowledge to go get the job done. He's going to line up on the 4th row outside under this restart.
Ty Majeski chooses the inside. So have the option to try both tonight.
Yeah, and we'll have to look at it on this restart, but Corey Heim has been extremely good. You mentioned it on the last restart, Michael. It hasn't mattered if he was on the inside lane or the outside lane. That truck fires off really good no matter what he does. And I feel like we've been seeing that here for multiple weeks in a row consistently. And we've also seen the 98 of Ty Majeski struggle on the restarts for whatever reason, just a little bit.
7, 8, 10 laps before it really appears that 98 truck comes to life. But maybe he's going to put all that behind him and just go get it.
Looking Caden Honeycutt, the 52 truck, holding strong there in third. Grant Enfinger next to him. Pace car is off. Here we go again. Restart under the lights of Richmond Raceway. Ty Majeski. Look at that fire off speed on the outside. Is it enough? They fan out all around. Look at Caden Honeycutt to the inside. He wants to take the lead.
That didn't last.
Andres Perez.
NASCAR's been keeping it green a lot tonight.
Look at Corey Heim on the outside to the lead once again. We've seen this story tonight.
Oh, and the 3-wide move by Caden Honeycutt just enough to allow Corey Heim the outside there and be able to carry that momentum all the way into turn 3 as we see still side by side for second place right now.
Andres Perez got it rolling, guys. We're going to stay green.
Nice run there on turn 2 for Majeski as Christian Eckes now trusts becoming part of this battle. We've had such great racing.
Green for him at 18, battling as a teammate, Christian Eckes. That Eckes truck, that Shiggy Vittori throwback. Thinking of Shiggy's family, we lost him earlier this season in an auto accident. Bill McAnally doing a little throwback in remembrance of him.
And as you look at Tyler Anchor right now, in position based on how his practice went earlier today, team has done a very good job at rebound. He's going to make the move right now to the inside of his teammate Christian Eckes to try and get that fourth spot, but a lot of struggles in practice with breaks, the handling, and everything. And what a turnaround. Those guys going
Been really solid all season long. The short track's just really good, intense competitor. And now that the adjustments have been made and we're getting like this race, he's thinking victory. Running really strong.
Ben Rhodes right behind this battle right here for the fourth position, and Ben has lost a spot since the restart, and really needs to get going right now. If we take a look at the restart on the right side of the certain bottom of the screen there,
That's just a great, I mean, you saw Kate Lennycutt with a nice start too and gets to the bottom. Now here comes Ty Majeski.
It's about the third time we've seen this tonight. Reels him in. It takes just a handful of laps, and he makes his way around. So Ty Majeski back to the lead.
Chandler Smith going around Ben Rhodes for the sixth position here, and to complete that, Ben's going to try to cross him back over.
Watch this yellow truck. Wow. Nice move around the top of the racetrack for Lane Riggs. He's going to take a spot away from Ben Rhodes.
Lane Riggs, a two-time winner on the season. That's his teammate just ahead of him to the left. Chandler Smith, a two-time winner on short tracks this season. Feel like they've made that truck a little bit better.
And I continue to be impressed. And Michael, a lot of times we go to Richmond, we don't see that top lane work on fresh tires quite as good as it is tonight. But I'm impressed with the moves guys are able to make on that top lane and find a way early on in runs to utilize it when they can and when it presents itself. And 30-40 strong.
Faster than Chandler. Chandler moved up at 1 and 2. It took that lane away from Lane last time. Goes back to the bottom here. He's just better time before Lane picks up that spot.
So 92 laps to go here from Richmond. It is the regular season finale as Ty Majeski continues to lead over Corey Heim and Caden Henninger.
RC hasn't had a very good start to this final stage. Fell back. But now he seems to be rallying. He's currently running back in 13th.
About the farthest back we've seen him today.
Spots, not quite sure how he got that far back in the pack, but definitely not what he wants. I know he's got some points to play with, and the team told him that. He knows the scenario, but let's not flirt with it too much if we don't have to.
Yeah, that cushion is nice. Let's maintain that. Got to feel the lap trucks between he and the next position will pick up as you see Tyler Acorn now coming under pressure of Lane Riggs.
Ty Majeski's led 105 laps and counting here at Richmond. Kenny Hayes went for the first time this season.
Yeah, I mentioned it already. The only way I see Majeski losing this race is if they fall behind on strategy, if we get a bunch of yellows in stage 3, which could happen still. We have 89 laps to go. It is a truck series on a short track, so I'm not going to necessarily say that this thing is going mostly green the rest of the way. It by no means has been out of hand tonight. We didn't have any caution for incident in stage 1. We had 2 of them in stage 2, but pretty evenly spaced apart for the most portion. And now, obviously, caution-free in the early going of stage 3. We have had 33 laps of yellow over the 4 cautions, but again, only 2 for incident. 11 lead changes, most of which come with the tire strategy with the yellows that came out, and different drivers taking tires at different times during the pit stops that took place during the course of that stage. Majeski out in front by 2.2 seconds ahead of Corey Heim right now. Caden Honeycutt is up to 3rd. Christian Eckes in 4th. Lane Riggs rounds out the top 5 in 5th. 6th place is Tyler Ankrum. Chandler Smith in 7th. Ben Rhodes 8th. Matt Craft in 9th. Raja Karut rounds out the top 10. And Giro in 11th. Sammy Smith 12th. Corey LaJoy 13th. Jake Garcia in 14th. Grant Enfinger 15th. 16th for Connor Mosack. Tanner Gray 17th. Bailey Curry 18th. Nick Lights in 20th. 19th rather, for Nick Lights. Bailey Curry's in 18th. 20th place is Matt Mills. He is actually 2 laps down. Then Andres Perez 21st. Carson Quapple 22nd. Now Brent Cruz is up to 22nd. Perez drops to 23rd. Spot changed on that last lap. Luke Fenhouse 24th. Patrick Staropoli 25th. Matt Gold 26th. Spencer Boyd 27th. Tony Breidinger 28th. Frankie Muniz 29th. Ryan Roulette 30th. Caleb Costner 31st. Dawson Sutt 32nd. Daniel Hemrick 33rd. Stefan Malozzi 34th. Clayton Green 35th. And that rounds out the field. 4 trucks out of the race up to this point, 2 because of mechanical. Malozzi, Clayton Green pulled off the track in the first 10 laps at the beginning of the race, have not yet returned. Hemrick, I believe, after his early issues in stage 1, is on the track, but 65 laps down. So he's going to have enough laps to make up a spot on Dawson Sutton before the end of the race, and maybe somebody else if we see anybody retire here over the next 10, 15, 20 laps or so. Once we get within 65 to go, he's not going to be able to mathematically pick up any more positions. I'll get to the diecast showing eventually. I'll do it at the next commercial break.
Oh, glory. All right, guys, 82 to go. Regan, Michael, you guys were talking about strategy. What do you do at this point if you have that extra set of tires sitting?
So, first of all, I think what Tom Majeski's going to try to do is just put him in his dust, and he won't worry about coming pit road. But there is a chance that some of these guys might split this thing in half, Regan.
Yeah, and that's the other strategy, that an option that's out there. If you take the stage split, and let's say roughly with 50 laps to go would be the optimum time to do that. You come to pit road, and maybe somebody like Corey Heim, who has 2 sets of tires sitting still in his truck, as we see Jack Garcia continuing to try and battle his way backward. That's a battle right there for the 13th position with Corey LaJoie. But if you're Corey Heim, you got to start thinking about, okay, the quickest way to get to the end of this race would be to put tires on with about 50 laps to go and times out better. And could I maybe leapfrog Ty Majeski by doing that? There's big risk in that, though, because you'll put yourself a lap down while you come to pit road and take those tires, and it'll take a little bit of time to unlap yourself. If you get a caution, Michael, now all of a sudden you got a whole other set of problems. But we know Ty Majeski only has 1 set left. They need to save those for a late race caution with maybe 10, 20 to go.
And to this guy, all he cares about is wins. He wants another win. And that's Corey Heim. So if he takes a chance and it backfires, no big loss. And so there's different strategies for our guys up front. Makes it fun.
I can only imagine what the crew chiefs are all thinking right now. It's got my head smoking right now, and here's trying to figure it all out and understand what the best play would be for each different scenario, because every single truck has a different scenario.
What's Ty Majeski thinking?
I am so sure.
Write that down for us.
The gap is what Tom Majeski looked like what he was doing, and his team told him to bring it back.
To bring it back, save a little bit. So not sure. You heard him say, I thought I was building a gap for a green flag stop. And you build that gap, and then yes, if you're planning to make that green flag stop, that's the best option. I still get nervous of what happens if you get a late race.
Yeah.
You don't have the tires and Corey Heim or somebody else does.
It's the box you put yourself in.
Like 2 seconds over Corey Heim. Kate Honeycutt in the 52 truck. So impressed with what he's been able to do, making the move over to this team this week. Dive into all the tools at his disposal, talking to Stuart Friesen, talking to driving coaches, just trying to put it all together. And what he's been able to do, guys, is so impressive. We knew this kid. Every time he gets in the truck, Michael, you talk about how he finishes in the top 10 when he's not even full-time. First full-time season this year. But wow, he's just going forward and doing a great job.
Well, he's just so good at his racecraft. It doesn't matter if he's 3 wide or if it's a short track where he needs to charge a corner, or a place like this where you really got to finesse the racetrack. You just see Kate get the job done everywhere we go, Josh. He's just so talented.
Yeah, you talk about the challenge for the 52 Caden Honeycutt from 3 different trucks the last 3 races. But he said when he hopped in the truck today, there wasn't much different despite it being from going from Chevy to Toyota. He said the only thing really different was getting in Stuart Friesen's seat. He also said Stuart has been very involved in helping him out, like you guys mentioned. Talk to him before practice, after practice, before qualifying. So much feedback coming from Stuart, and it's been really helpful for Caden Honeycutt as he makes the transition.
It's to be really interesting here. Stuart Friesen has been one of his biggest competitors on the track week in and week out. Now all of a sudden you're driving for him and he's giving you driving advice.
Well, and that's great for, for a young driver in terms of Caden Honeycutt. And I know he's had a lot of help at these horses as well, guys like Ross Chastain helping to coach him along. But to know that you've got someone else out there that you can talk to and you can lean on and that's been driving that truck, that knows how that truck is going to respond, that knows how that team is going to respond when maybe you say something on the radio. All very important things for Caden. And we talked to them starting the race, right? This race was important for them to be able to understand each other moving forward in the playoffs.
Lane Riggs having another one of his top 5 nights. Short track, kind of what we've come to expect from this young man.
And it just seems like every time they show Lane Riggs tonight, he's finding a way to move forward and finding a way to battle forward. He's passing trucks consistently every time we've got the camera on him, and not a dominant performance like we saw out of him in Indianapolis Raceway Park a few weeks ago, but Lane has consistently been showing that speed in every week, and one of the 2 or 3 trucks, Michael, that I think we keep looking at and saying, okay, they're very close to championship form right now, and everywhere we go, and being able to get up there and maybe trying. I know Corey Heim is still the favorite, but trying to get up there and make sure they are heavy in that conversation.
I think I almost got to put him in the same conversation with Corey Heim just because of the way he's performed in the late summer months. And you can see him here trying to make a move for that 3rd position under Caden Honeycutt. The last couple of laps, he's been the fastest thing that year.
How much do you think having Chandler Smith adding a teammate has helped this team? Usually there's a little growing pains, but these 2 teammates seem to have hit it off from the get-go.
For Front Row Motorsports to add a second truck as late as they did in the year, and both trucks perform at really a high level all season long, and getting wins, multiple wins for both trucks. Chandler Smith's multiple wins coming early on the season, fantastic.
Chandler Smith is teammate running 6th right now, but it's all about Ty Majeski. He has been the dominant one. Will it be his night?
All right, Lane Riggs making the pass on Caden Honeycutt for 3rd place there moments ago, going to commercial on FS1. And we have just over 60 laps still to go, about 65 laps left this time by at the line. 3.2 second lead for Ty Majeski over Corey Heim. Lane Riggs 6.9 seconds back in 3rd. Caden Honeycutt 7.6 seconds off the lead in 4th. By the time we restarted and began this final stage for green flag lap purposes, we're going to have to go about 100 laps. So, as you heard from Ty Majeski and his pit crew, sounds like they're expecting green flag pit stops to take place at some point in time in this final stage if we went green long enough. Haven't seen anybody pit yet. I would imagine a lot of these teams will probably split it in half. If you're one of those, 7, 8 plus teams, I think there was 6 drivers, if I'm thinking correctly, who did not take tires that are on the lead lap right now at the 2 cautions that flew back in stage 1. Because the ones that I do know that pitted were Jake Garcia. It might be a lot less than that, though, what I'm thinking. Christian Eckes, Caden Honeycutt, Ty Majeski, Ben Rhodes, obviously. I think Chandler Smith. I think they all pitted for tires. And everybody else on the lead lap would have that extra set. Ty Majeski as well, obviously our leader, would be down a set to the end. They have 1 set left. Everybody else that has an extra set on them has 2 sets left the rest of the race. The best thing that has happened so far is the fact that this has gone green as long as it has to begin the stage for Majeski. But he needs it to stay that way. Or if they do catch 1 caution, everybody hits pit road, and you just got to hope that you don't catch another one the rest of the day, or you're going to be a sitting duck. I mean, he would have probably the 10-lap scuffs that he would end up throwing on after the fact, but 10-lap scuffs is still going to not be anywhere near the power of 4 fresh stickers. going to be more to kind of mitigate the whatever time that you can out of the scuffs. It really isn't going to be much compared to the tires you already have on the racetrack for however many laps you've had them on there for. Riggs has picked up 8 positions since the restart. That last lap, he was still about a tenth slower than Majeski. He is running quicker lap times than that of Corey Heim in second. So we'll have to wait and see if he can continue to claw his way back into this.
Hold a set of those tires. Matt Crafton, he's on pit road right now, and that's
Crafton into the pits.
Handfinger has already been on pit road.
Crafton's in a must-win situation, so he's got to mix it up, figure out how to get some track position, maybe get the position to win this thing. Josh.
And like you mentioned, must win for Matt Crafton. Came in with the radio before this stop, said, I have no brake pedal. Not what you want to hear, especially in a place like Richmond.
You know, we do the math on fall off, and now that the sun has gone down, even I'm just not seeing that much fall off. 25
Michael, the sun's been down the whole night.
Fastest truck, fastest I've seen is about a 2380. So that's just over a second. It's a bit of a stretch to me to hit from way back and have it work, but
Well, and these teams, they'll have a number. There's a delta that they're targeting. There's a delta that says it's this much quicker if you pit in this lap and try to split it and use fresh tires for 50 laps each time. And to your point, Michael, that delta does change as the pace isn't falling off quite as much. That delta might have been built on 2.5 seconds of fall off. So that does change. And that's where it gets very, very complicated. Now, they're running real-time data to figure that delta and that number out. And clearly some of these teams are saying, hey, you need to go ahead and hit, as we see Corey Heim making that choice right now.
Corey Heim, one of those that has an extra set waiting, Josh.
And yeah, with Corey Heim, they've been trying to get that balance right all night long. It feels like they hit him during that last stop. Came on the radio and said this is the best the truck has been all night. Let's see it. He's got 2 sets of tires waiting, like you said. See how things play out for this 11 truck.
Majeski continuing to put laps on the track. You see on the left of our screen, Lane Riggs is in time.
Tight. Left is in second on those 2 loose still. Capella made adjustments, got it right on. The road train really likes it. It's a tiny bit tight down. Exactly what you're saying, these guys. Once one guy comes in, they all got to come in following.
Chandler Smith is on pit road right now as well.
Majeski keeps putting laps on the tracks. This is interesting. Aiden Honeycutt. We see Tyler Akram coming in. How long will the 98 of Majeski push it out?
71 Araja Caruth had come down. He was busted speeding.
Yep, mistake. This is the money stop, and you can't have something bite you on that.
And that's one of the risks that you run when you make a green flag pit stop. A problem really compounds itself if you're not careful, and then more time to make up, as we see Raja Caruth serving a penalty on pit road for too fast entering on the 71.
How frustrating is it if you're Tom Majeski out there, your fastest truck all night long, and you're just having to let people swing on by as he continues to put laps on those older tires?
Well, and it only gets worse, right? Because you get put in positions that you don't want. We see Ben Rhodes on pit road. That'll be Ben's last set of tires. So we know how the scenarios have to play out for him for the rest of the race. Jake Garcia, depending on how it works out, really in a good spot as Ben comes to set of tires. So doing exactly what they thought they would. Just mirror what the 99 truck does from here on out.
Keep him in your sights, and he's done a nice job of that all night long.
Todd?
Oh! Crafton, I think, had his brake issue right as the race leader, Ty Majeski, was to his outside, and he ends up wiping himself out along with his teammate and leader, Majeski. Caution flag is out. We've got a mess in turns 3 and 4.
That truck to keep up.
Jeez.
You see him just trying to get that truck turned around, having trouble with the banking there, and And
Spencer Boyd
What,
involved.
what terrible timing.
what an interesting scenario we have now.
Crafton was on fresh tire. You can see not a lot of damage to the 98.
It could have been 88. I don't know. It just looked like Matt Crafton was on the bottom there and those fresh tires. And we were starting to say it before some of those pit stops. The tough challenge right there for Ty Majeski is these guys are coming by so much faster. It's a challenge for him, but it's also a challenge for them to not make a mistake and maybe overdrive it, trying to get their lap back or whatever it may be. And we'll have to see exactly what happened to cause Matt to get up into him. But man, now we're going to get really, really interesting.
Matt Kraft did quite a bit of damage on the back of his race truck. He's on pit road. Here's what happened.
Got a smoker up ahead. You think Matt saw that?
Oh, he just lost the nose for some reason as he got in. That was a really awkward spot for him to shoot up the track like that. Don't know if maybe there was something to do with fresh tires that maybe caused that. Crafton was just in.
You can see a truck coming to pit road. I don't know how that had affected anything. That was weird looking.
And that was quite a ways into the corner for Matt to have that happen. And we know they're teammates, right? Matt does not want that to be the scenario. And
let's see what we can see here. Clearly way faster than Majeski. Then you see the smoking tires, but he just lose the back end. And then overcorrected it.
Wow, what a shock for Ty Majeski. Just minding his business out there, doing the best he can. Oh, gosh, what a great night for Matt Crafton, you guys. We talked about him running in the top 10 all night long.
The damage to that Menards Ford.
something to keep our eyes on here. But of the trucks that pitted, Corey Heim and Lane Riggs were able to unlap themselves, so they're on the lead lap. They will not have to take the wave around.
They only have just a handful of laps on those tires.
And the top four stayed out. Sammy Smith, Majeski's off, and Gio Ruggiero was one that had stayed out as well. So this will all cycle around. Corey LaJoy was one of those that had stayed out as well.
Well, we know for a fact that Ty Majeski, after that spin, he's going to have to find his way to pit road and get tires on his truck. That's a guarantee right now. And after this all shakes out and resettles itself, then we've got to take a look at, okay, who's actually got tires left at this point and what takes place now for the remainder of the race, because essentially the tires are going to be very similar once guys take the wave around. It's just a matter of when this field gets reset, where they all stack up at and how they can play the remainder of the race.
I'm just trying to get my brain around this, but it might not be that big of a setback for Tom Majeski, because he is now going to get to make his pit stop under the caution flag, get the fresh tires, have the best tires of the leaders. This doesn't seem to be all that big of a deal to me for Majeski. Am I missing something, Regan?
No, not at this point. I agree with you on that, Michael. And I think the only way that it becomes a problem is, again, if there's a caution with 10 laps to go and he can't get tires.
Cleanup continues for the latest caution for our leader, Ty Majeski, going around with his teammate, Matt Crafton. We'll be back.
Yeah, Majeski had such a big lead there with how few of trucks, I should say, that were on the lead lap because most of them had pitted. Majeski obviously did not. He only lost one position with the spin, but he did back it against the inside retaining wall, so he is going to be with a bit of damage. Good news is you're on a short track, but I'd say of all the short tracks on the net, excuse me, I had a hiccup there, on the NASCAR circuit, I would say that Ty Majeski, aerodynamically, this would probably be the one where you wouldn't want to have that kind of damage. The good news is it's on the back of the car, not the front of the race truck. So I don't think it's going to matter as much versus if the nose was caved in a bit, it'd probably be shoving in the corners. Rear tires might feel like they're lifted a little bit off the ground with the back bumper damage, so maybe the truck gets a bit looser. It's going to be able to take on tires here They're obviously going to have to make some damage repairs, so I don't expect Majeski to win this race off pit road. Really open the door up for Sammy Smith, Gio Ruggiero, Corey LaJoie. Especially, you look at Gio Ruggiero, he needs to win this race to get into the playoffs because of not getting any stage points tonight. Does Ruggiero have anything of an upset in him to try to pull off here this evening? Hyman Riggs unlapped themselves before the caution came out. They can put on their last set of tires now, but I don't think they're going to do that with only a handful of laps on them. They will be at a slight disadvantage on the restart as a result of having about 5 laps or so green flag action on the current tires they have, compared to the very few drivers on the lead lap who will be pitting after them. But if they catch another caution, then they'll be at the advantage. Being able to put fresh tires back on the race truck again and try to drive to the front of the field.
Hey, against the Cardinals. Or Tigers, Twins. Baseball Night in America, Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox.
Welcome back to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It is the regular season finale, and we are under caution for the 5th time. And guys, there's a lot of oil on the track that we just got to see. We're looking back at replays, and we were told they're cleaning up oil. Maybe that's what happened here.
Oh, it's definitely what happened. Matt didn't know what went down either, and then we're getting reports now that there was oil on the track, and I think as we see that smoke there, you can see the shiny oil
right along the bottom of the track there, and especially, you know, where the left sides just were at on Matt Crafton, Michael, you can see the oil,
see the
all
oil
the way
right there
at the bottom
in the picture there.
Yeah, the trucks in front of them, Corey LaJoie went high up the racetrack as well. He had a little bit more room to save it, right, and didn't have somebody that he was going to get into immediately, whereas Matt Crafton, when that truck took off, it took off quick. So we thought it was odd how quick the nose just went straight on him. It just didn't make any sense, and now we're making a little bit more sense of it. Not sure where the oil was coming from, but you can clearly see it was all the way around the corner. So somebody had really had a significant loss of oil somewhere around the racetrack.
I think it might have been rear end grease, shiny like it was. Getting a report that some of the folks down on the ground smell some rear end grease. You know how terrible that smells when they go bad.
Nothing worse than rear end grease, coming through the vents and the systems that the drivers have in their helmets to try and give them a little fresh air.
Heck of a save by Ty Majeski, by the way. Kept that truck clean for the most part.
And very tough when you get spun at that spot of the corner and you're not really anticipating getting hit right there. A lot of times the truck can just snap right around on you and really back into the wall. So fortunate for him, we see the damage to the left side of it as he's shaking that truck around. But fortunate that it wasn't worse than what it was. Got an answer to the question in terms of who was going to pit. We knew that this was going to happen.
Yes.
These are the trucks that hadn't pitted yet, including Ty Majeski. So opportunity to get tires at top.
Yeah, Regan, Ty, how often do you spin out and end up second in the running order, right? Ty, the first time tonight, ditch out Lakers truck, really too tight in the center. This is a good opportunity to get those fellow lefties to put that second to that last set of tires on and try to run with those guys.
First thing he spent, that truck has been pretty good all night, but he told the team, I need to fire all better if we have any shot of winning this race. That truck just too tight. So hoping the adjustment will help him the rest of the way.
All right, so there you have it for Ty Majeski. Final set of tires.
Yeah, and I think the only surprise that we saw on pit road right there was the 34 lane break. So he took what was going to be his final set of tires. And as we look at the laps remaining right now, we're down to 42 to go. We know that this cleanup's going to take just a little bit of time, and they wanted to get them right now.
We'll line them back up and drop the green flag. Again, who will race their way into the playoffs? We'll find out.
Sure, quite a few drivers are going to end up taking the wave around here to get back on the lead lap. We should have a little less than 40 laps to go in the restart here at Richmond Raceway, and it is going to get wild. Sammy Smith, Corey LaJoie, some of the top drivers with no damage on the race trucks, unlike Majeski Joey's been running around 15th for most of the night, a lap down at various times. He was one of the drivers that had gotten the free pass with the cautions that came out in the middle of stage 2. Sammy Smith is leading. First time this evening. Giro again is in a must-win situation to make the playoffs. Going to be in 3rd. Lane Riggs back there in 6th. There is damage that will slow down Majeski's race truck following the incident he had with Matt Crafton there. We'll have to see how much it is. Been an intriguing race, I'd say, so far throughout the course of the night. We're just a couple of likes shy from our goal of 50. We're at 47 right now, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content like this every NASCAR race weekend. Truck Xfinity Cup races. Xfinity off this weekend at Richmond. It is all truck and cup action. And practice qualifying for the Cup Series earlier. Race tomorrow night. We'll be live for that one at 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, Cup Series under the lights at Richmond. 400 laps. This is the regular season finale for the Truck Series, but it is the second to last race of the regular season for the Cup side. Their regular season finale will be next weekend at Daytona. Richmond was the regular season finale for a long time on the NASCAR schedule from when the chase was first implemented back in 2004. And I believe think about this for a second. Pretty sure 2019, if I'm thinking correctly, was the first or the last time we saw Richmond as the cutoff race to get into the playoffs.
Is against Wilson Contreras and the Cardinals. Or the AL Central leading Tigers take on the Twins. Check your local listings for the game in your area. That's tomorrow, 7 Eastern, only on Fox. And we welcome you back to Richmond Raceway.
Yeah, you know what? I'll get the diecast showing out now while we're under caution. We'll be going green this time by. My diecast showing for today, I wanted to pick out my only Austin Dillon 124 scale diecast because he did win at Richmond last season. This is his rookie season. It does have rookie stripes on the back. Sorry, the lighting is bad in my room tonight, but the rookie stripes are on the back of this already, mostly yellow, paint scheme yellow-black. Cheerio scheme from the Daytona 500 of 2013 specifically. He would have ran part-time that year and then obviously full-time, or let me get that right. No, he didn't. Now I got to think about this for a second. Yeah, he was part-time in 2013 because 2014 was his first full rookie season. 2013 was the year Stenhouse won Rookie of the Year. So this diecast specifically, I do believe, is from 2013. I can't really read it in the dark, but I'm going to go out and say that this was from 2013. But early Austin Dillon diecast, one of many rookie diecasts that I do own. Surprised they have not gotten the one to go signal yet. I thought they were going to get it the last time by, but they ended up not. And still waiting down some laps under caution. A lot of trucks going to be taking the wave around as expected with how many that were a lap down with the caution coming out in the middle of green flag pit stops. Considering how many trucks were lap down at the end of stage 1, though, it's still not going to be many on the lead lap. I believe 15 trucks, it looks like, will be on the lead lap on the restart. The trucks that took the wave around are going to be on old tires compared to the leaders who all pitted during this last caution. So, in fact, the wave around trucks are in the best situation if this thing ends up going green to the end, because there's going to be a couple of them in there that will have an extra set of tires left at the end of the race. The rest would have to either stay out or take scuffs if they do end up hitting pit road at any point in time between now and the finish. So we're going to have 35 laps to go around this 3/4 mile short track Richmond Raceway, state of Virginia. Sammy Smith will be outside of row 1 on the restart. Ty Majeski hasn't had the greatest restart so far today. He hasn't been able to get to the lead on a single one of them, whether he has been the controlled truck or the non-controlled truck. And now he's got a little bit of damage on the back. Not a lot, but he did have a bit. What is that going to do for him? Is it going to slow him up enough, allow for a Corey Heim or Lane Riggs to be more competitive than what they were to that 98 truck earlier in the day? Green flag is back in the air. 35 to go. Sammy Smith on the outside of row number 1, Xfinity Series regular, trying to get a truck win for the first time in his career. Majeski goes up the racetrack. I believe Ruggiero might have hit him from behind, and that opens the door up for Corey LaJoie to get to the inside 3 wide for the lead off turn 2. LaJoie couldn't hang on. Desperate move, and Majeski overdrives the corner again, this time in 3 and 4. I don't know if there was contact from behind that go around. Majeski slamming the door shut on Corey LaJoie. 98 truck might not be right after Con Smith holds on to the lead, and it's a side-by-side battle for second right now between Gio Ruggiero and Corey Heim. And this is an interesting situation for Heim as a teammate, because Ruggiero, his teammate, needs a win to get into the playoffs. Heim obviously already locked in. He's already locked up the regular season title. Ruggiero going up the racetrack into turns 1 and 2. Corey Heim didn't run him extraordinarily tight through the corner that last time by. But this has definitely turned into a bit of a weird race. Heim was clear for second, slips up the racetrack through 1 and 2. Ruggiero right back underneath him again. 31 to go at the line this time by. Of these top 6, I don't think any of them are going to have an extra set of tires left the rest of the way. Maybe Corey LaJoie, but I'm not going to guarantee that. The only reason I was wondering if he might is because he was a lap down for a lot of the early going of the race, so maybe he didn't take a set of tires at the end of stage 2. LaJoie just got passed on the outside by Riggs, as Riggs moves back into the top 5 to 5th. Sammy Smith is getting out ahead with the 17 and the 11 running side by side for as long as they have, off and on again every couple laps. Ruggiero just cannot complete that pass on the inside of his teammate. Rookie Ruggiero, this might be the best situation he's been in to try to win a race all season. Majeski starting to close on the back bumper of the 11 and the 17. And I don't think he's going to waste any time with the 17, considering that he may have gotten contacted from him on the last restart. It happened so quick. That's what it looked like what happened. And the next lap in turn 1, Majeski went wide as well with no contact, and might have just overdrove the truck 2 corners in a row. I guess we'll find out when he gets to the back of the 17 what he thinks of it. Majeski on the back of the 17. He puts the bumper to Ruggiero. Majeski looks to the inside for third after a failed pass attempt for second on Corey Heim. Ruggiero will quickly hop in line in front of Lane Riggs as Majeski completes the pass for third. And so Ruggiero is now starting to go backwards. He was hanging on for the immediate short run, but not as much anymore. Really crowds Lane Riggs quite a bit going into turn 1. There was slight contact between the 2 trucks, but nothing major. 17 really tried to cut the nose off of Riggs' truck. Riggs up to 4th now. Various times we've seen Heim in second, Riggs in second. They're pretty even with one another. I think Riggs is definitely better on the long run. Heim has fired off well in the short run on several occasions today, where he'll get out to the lead on a restart, hang on to it for about 20-25 laps, then Majeski overtakes him. Will that be the same here with Corey Heim in second now and Majeski having a slightly more banged up truck? And what is the speed for Sammy Smith in the lead compared to these guys? Because Sammy Smith's been in the top 5 quietly most of the day as well. He's been about 4th or 5th, but he's at nowhere near the long run pace of those top 3 who are really dominating the show through the first 2/3 of the event. Heim is a half a second off of Sammy Smith. Majeski's 9/10 off the lead, and Lane Riggs is 1.3 seconds back. And the gap between those top four is closing more and more, lap after lap, corner after corner. This is going to be a fun watch to the finish. Quick bubble battle watch between Jake Garcia, Ben Rhodes. Again, currently as we run, 21 points is the difference. 18 points was the difference going into stage 3. So Rhodes by 18 spots would have to beat Jake Garcia to get that final playoff spot. There are only 14 trucks on the lead lap right now, so it's probably going to take an incident knocking Garcia out of the race for any sort of a shot for Ben Rhodes or anybody else to get into the playoffs. That is obviously assuming that Giro Ruggiero at fifth does not win. He's the highest in the running order. That is below the cutoff line. Because Majeski is above the cutoff line. He's in on points despite not having to win. Sammy Smith doesn't have a win, but he's an Xfinity Series regular, not running for truck points. If Heim takes a while to get by Sammy Smith, who I think he is quicker than, it is going to be fun to watch the 98 and the 34 really run him down. Top four within a second of one another here with 22 laps to go. Dawson Sutton back on the racetrack after having an issue earlier in the race. He's kind of all over the racetrack. He was right in front of Ben Rhodes the last time by, knowing that there has to be an 18-point split between the two. Heim to the outside, looking for the lead. Taking a peek on Sammy Smith, and he's going to get there. Side by side. Into turns 3 and 4. Smith holds tightly on that yellow line. Corey Heim trying to get the drive off on exit. He's going to be able to get there. He's got more straightaway speed down the front stretch. 20 laps to go here at Richmond. And Corey Heim should be in a pretty good spot to try to clear Sammy Smith up off turn 2 this time. Sammy holding on strong for now. And he drops in line in second. Corey Heim leads for the third different time tonight, but can he hold on with the hard-charging 98 and 34 still to come? Lap truck of Tony Breidinger down on the bottom. Leaders were all going to work their way by the outside of the 5. Heim needs to build as big of a gap as he can back to Majeski and Riggs. Vastly different than a lot of the races that Corey Heim has won this season, in which he has dominated in a lot of the races that he has won. This one, not so much. He's also been in races where he's dominated and haven't won. I haven't really seen a race like this where he hasn't led many laps. I mean, he's led quite a few. He's led the second most laps of the race. It's just compared to Majeski. Majeski's led 143. Heim's led for 56. And counting with under 20 to go. Sammy Smith got passed by Majeski. Lane Riggs working on him for third. Riggs not quite clear up off turn 4. It's going to cost him a bit more time. Couldn't get the power down off the exit of turn 4 as quickly as he wanted because he couldn't drive it all the way out to the wall. Now he's cleared through the center of 1 and 2. All right, well, here we go. Heim, Majeski, Riggs, 1, 2, and 3 again. Fourth is Sammy Smith. Giro Ruggiero rounds out the top 5 in 5th. And you got Corey LaJoie in 6th. 7th is Jake Garcia. Chandler Smith in 8th. Caden Honeycutt 9th. Ben Rhodes rounds out the top 10. Tyler Ankerman 11th. Christian Eck is 12th. Grant Enfinger 13th. Tanner Gray 14th. Carson Quapple in 15th is the first truck a lap down. Brent Cruz is 16th. Matt Mills 17th. Connor Mosack 18th. Raja Kruth 19th. 20th for Bailey Curry. Tony Breidinger, 21st. Andres Perez, 22nd. Luke Fenhouse, 23rd. Patrick Staropoli, 24th. Matt Gold, 25th. Matt Crafton, 26th. Nick Lights, 27th. Spencer Boyd, 28th. Ryan Roulette, 29th. Caleb Costner, 30th. And Dawson Sutton at 31st. Frankie Muniz, 32nd. Daniel Hemrick, 33rd. Stephen Malozzi, 34th. And 35th, Clayton Green, rounding out the field. 13 laps to go at the line for Heim. His lead is 1.3 seconds over Ty Majeski, now 2 seconds over Lane Riggs. At last lap, it was Heim who was the quickest on the racetrack. Will this stay green to the end of the race is the next question.
Who has been the best truck, does he have time to close that gap and take over where he started or where he was all day long?
Even if you look at the most recent lap completed, it was about a 10th and a half that Majeski had gained. So doing the math there, if he can keep doing that, this is going to get really interesting.
And another 10th and a half there on that lap. You can see the margin of, that he's leading just over a second.
For you NHRA fans coming up right after us from Brainerd, it's qualifying right here on FS1.
That's 0 to 300 in about a second. That's my thoughts.
Oh, wait, yeah.
See, Majeski starts to hang that thing out a little bit. Lost some ground there that lap, just a half a tenth. This is just going to teeter right there around a second.
You know, Ty right now driving it for everything that it is worth, right? He's doing everything he can. He can see Corey Heim up there in front of him. He knows that he's been better for the majority of the night than Corey Heim, and now he's asking for as much as he can out of this truck, as much as he has all night long.
10 to go. What a night in Richmond. We talked about it all day, Regan, how much fun this is going to be, how much strategy was going to play a part of it. And now it's just the two best trucks all night long. Ty Majeski trying to run down Corey Heim. This could be, if Corey Heim pulls this off, one of his best victories of the year. Because he's struggling at this racetrack. And he said it earlier today, thought he had made some changes that would help him. And here he is, driving with the lead with under 10 laps to go.
Well, Michael, Josh has been telling us all night, not happy with the feel of that truck. Numb front end, but on this last stop, he said it was the best that he had felt tonight. So kudos to that team, Scott Zipadelli, pit crew getting it done, giving him the truck that he needs to be in this position right now and capitalize. And will it be enough? Another one of those stories, Jake Garcia doing exactly what he needs to do, running 7th right now. He stays here, finishes the job in 8 laps. He will advance to the playoffs.
All Jake is thinking is, let's keep this clean, let's keep it green, no more restarts, no more opportunity to get to a bad position, and he's perfectly content riding right where he's at for the next 8 laps.
And he's okay with giving up this spot to Chandler Spitz as well.
Go ahead and take it, Chandler. You can have it. I don't want it that bad right
Just
now.
don't rough me up. There's his adversary that Ben's, I think, a protected city came in here with.
Ben could pass Jake Garcia and pick up another few spots. It just wouldn't be enough. Too little, too late.
Ben's such a great young racer. Probably going to be pretty happy for his teammate, though. Gave it all he had, but Jake was just better than I.
He may wait until one to be happy for his team. He's going to be frustrated tonight. I can assure you that. But Ben, the right attitude all weekend long, right? Said that I'm racing like I normally would race, no pressure. And again, this is as a champion, he's been in the high pressure moments. He knows how to get it.
5 laps to go. They'll be coming up with 4 to go this time by. The lead is a 2.5 now for Heim. It was just kind of managing the gap, if not just slightly quicker than the 2 trucks of Majeski and Riggs behind him. Great job by Corey Heim and great adjustments by that 11 team. If Heim wins, it'll be back-to-back for him yet again this season, and it would be 7 wins in 18 races if he is able to pull this off. He's only finished outside the top 10 coming into the night 4 times. Surprised it's even been that many. After the laps led tonight, he has now led over 1,100 laps this season. He's not going to go on to lead the most laps. He didn't win a stage at all today, but he will be picking up 5 more playoff points yet again. Just like he did a week ago. 7 wins would account for 35 playoff points. 15 playoff points for winning the regular season title would get him to 50. And then he's had quite a few stage wins this season as well. And as he comes into the night, he is sitting at, get the math right on this, 15 stage wins on the year. So we're talking 65 playoff points for Corey Heim in an 18-race regular season for the Truck Series by winning this race here this evening. It's coming around off turn 4 this time. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. That's the flag he wanted to see, and he's got it. Next one he wants to see is the checkered in his way, other than some lap traffic that he doesn't have any sort of urgency to try to pass, but he's going to try to pass a couple of them anyway. One of the trucks got sideways right in front of him off of turn 2 in 84 rather. Ducks out of harm's way. Checkered flag waving now, and Corey Heim wins at Richmond. Unbelievable. 7 wins in 18 races. What a season for the 11. Arguably, you could consider this to be one of the best Truck Series seasons of all time. And if he's able to cap it off with a championship, I would definitely say so. Ty Majeski ends up second, Lane Riggs third, Sammy Smith fourth, Corey LaJoy rounds out the top five and fifth, Gio Ruggiero finishes sixth, seventh for Jake Garcia, Ben Rhodes eighth, Chandler Smith ninth, Caden Honeycutt rounds out the top 10, and Jake Garcia does get that final spot on points for the playoffs. And Rhodes, the two-time truck champion, will not make it. And a champion just from 2 seasons ago as well. Tyler Ranker ends up 11th to finish on the lead lap. Tanner Gray finishes 14th, Carson Quapple 15th, Brent Cruz 16th, Matt Mills 17th, Connor Mosack 18th, Roger Kruk 19th, Bailey Curry in 20th, Andres Perez 21st, Luke Fenhouse 22nd, Patrick Staropoli 23rd. That was a truck that got loose in front of Heim on the last lap. Tony Breidinger 24th, Matt Gold 25th, Matt Crafton 26th, Nick Lights 27th, 28th for Spencer Boyd, Ryan Roulette 29th, Caleb Costner 30th, Dawson Sutton 31st, Frankie Muniz 32nd, Daniel Hemrick 33rd, Stephen Malozzi 34th, 35th, Clayton Green. And that rounds out the 35 truck field for tonight's Era 250. 75 laps led for race winner Corey Heim, 143 for Majeski. He won stage 1 and stage 2 and led the most laps of the race. 31 laps led for Sammy Smith. 1 lap led for Jake Garcia, which I believe was during green flag pit stops. And those were the only 4 drivers to lead at least 1 lap in the race today. 13 lead changes amongst them. 5 cautions, all for incident. 3 of which for incident. 1 in stage 3, 2 of them in stage 2, none in stage 1. And then the 2 stage ends at lap 70, lap 140. 48 laps under caution total in tonight's race, 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 11 seconds, which was actually, despite how quick this race went with a few cautions, longer than the Cup race last weekend, which was, I believe, 2 hours and 11 minutes. Here's your race winner, Corey Heim, on the front stretch at Richmond.
I heard you come over the radio, said you didn't think you could ever win here, but you put in the work, the team worked on the setup, and you did the homework to get better. What does this win say about your performance this season and places you hadn't been good at in the past?
Yeah, I really didn't feel like me personally, I wasn't that good. I was very inconsistent, but obviously the 98 was the best truck, and I'm sure he, got damaged there and it slowed him down. But we've had some getaway on us like that this year, and this is one that kind of redeems that a little bit. So very thankful for Jack on Garage, Toyota, Safe Light. Once again, don't think we were phenomenal today by any means, but we were definitely good enough to be there when it counted, and we were. So huge thank you to all those guys, Blake and Trevor for my development, 2311 for all the Cup help this week, and gonna try to get a good run in the Cup Tour tomorrow. Can't wait.
Corey Heim, 7th win on the season, gets it done finally at Richmond.
That's what it's all about. Look at that young man celebrating with the checkered flag.
Well, I'm tight to that, though.
What a cool memory for that little kid.
What a cool.
Margin of victory ended up being, it looks like 9/10 of a second. You can tell Heim was coasting across the line. Well, really, it looked like he was trying to do a burnout down to the apron as he was crossing the start-finish line because he gave up about 6/10 of a second on that final lap to Majeski. But, yeah, solid win here tonight for Corey Heim. Unbelievable season. Here's Jake Garcia standing with Todd Bodine on pit road after clinching the final playoff spot.
You did exactly what you need to do. You put yourself in position. You got the points. Did what you need to do. Get that gap. Allowed you to take that second half and coast and make sure you kept a great job.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I just did my best to run a smart race in the second half. And even the first half, there's some moments where we were 4 wide, and that's not going to work out at Richmond. So there were some points when I had to bail out. We lost a bunch of spots, one of those restarts, just being really conservative. But, our truck was really fast. And I think we could have finished top 5, certainly. So I want to thank all my guys. They did a good job. They worked really, really hard on this truck, and like they do all the trucks, and gave me a really fast piece today. I want to thank God for the opportunity to come out here. And I want to thank my partners, Ford and Quanta Services as well. It's not the circumstances we want to get in the playoffs. So those going to make sure for everything. Hope he gets along soon, and hopefully in the playoffs.
Well, this is your second trip into the playoffs. What did you learn last year that you can better yourself in this run this year?
Yeah, I think there's just some things that you got to just be consistent. I've been in point situations before, where it's battling for championships at late model levels and stuff, and it's just about being consistent and We're going to try to do that through the first round, especially through the second round with how chaotic some of those tracks can get. And then, once you get to Phoenix, then it's game on.
Jake Garcia races away into the playoffs.
Job well done by that 20-year-old man from Monroe, Georgia. Nice of him to mention Stuart.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Garcia's been at it for what, 3 full-time seasons in the Truck Series now? Well, I guess he ran part-time a couple years ago, so second full-time season, but kind of forgot he's only 20 years old. Obviously, he looked young, but then you hear 20 years old, it's like, wow, he's already been in the playoffs twice for the Truck Series. Hasn't broken through with a victory yet. ThorSport as a whole has been down this year. Almost got their first win as an organization tonight. Majeski brings it home in P2. Thank you for everybody that has hit the like button throughout the course of the stream tonight. We did get to our like goal of 50. We're at 55 currently. We'll be live for the NASCAR Cup Series race tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. That is going to wrap up tonight's coverage for the Eero 250 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Richmond Raceway. The regular season finale. Congrats again to Corey Heim for the race win, and thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys back for some Saturday night short track action at Richmond again tomorrow for the NASCAR Cup side. Have a good night, everybody. Stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.